Is it time?
It is time for us to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day.
We'll see what happens. We'll know in a very short period of time, but it looks like it could be something that will be not good. Believe me, not good.
I am a dissident.
Don't move. Move.
I'm saying no. Why you hear Palantir, 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 Palantir? It's not going to stop.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list.
Turns off.
I am not a church boy.
Turns off.
They're full-on vampires.
They hate our beef. They hate our beef. They hate our beef because our beef is beautiful and theirs is weak.
Not good. Believe me, not good.
Hello, dissidents. Welcome, one and all, to a Tuesday matinee edition of the Do Dissidents podcast. This is Keaton Weiss here with Russell Dobular, of course.
Hello.
How is everybody doing? Appreciate you all very much for being here. We are at 862 strong in the YouTube chat. We are at 286 strong over in the Rumble room. Appreciate everybody being here. It is 1:13 a.m. in the fine Republic of Laos.
Yeah, that's classified. What's funny? It's funny, man. I was always under the impression that those there roosters, they start crowing at the sunrise, man. But as we were preparing here, and it is 1 a.m, I heard one of them start doing the crowing, man. Like, if they do that at 1 a.m, no wonder people eat chickens.
Yeah. That's pretty offensive. That's pretty offensive.
I mean, it's like you're asking to get eaten. You're just drawing attention to yourself at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Exactly. It's very rude. Very rude.
It is.
You would think they would respond to the sun coming up, right?
Well, you would think genetically over all the millennia that chickens have been domesticated, they would have developed an instinct not to wake people up because you get eaten. Right. You would think that would have removed them from the gene pool, but apparently not. Apparently not this one anyway.
Yeah. No, he's a rebel. He's a rebel.
That's right. You know what happens to rebels? They wind up on the plate.
That's right. Well, it's a communist country, right? He's a revolutionary. Yeah. Come get me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I bought? I bought a commie flag here.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's right.
I did.
You mentioned that.
I did. It's my first commie flag. That'll be on the set when I get back to New York, right behind me. That'll do the show with the big red flag with the hammer and sickle on it. I felt like buying it in Laos, made in Laos. It was kind of interesting. I feel like if you get it in Vietnam, it's probably made in a factory in China.
Yeah, it could be. Definitely could be, for sure. Yeah, you ever think like the communist country makes most of our shit here? We're so against communism.
It's true.
But
it's true.
Most of our stuff.
You know what this is, and again, I don't know all the ins and outs. I'm far, 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 far from an expert on the government of Laos. But they do identify as communists. You do see the hammer and sickle next to the Laotian flag all over. Businesses hang it and everything. And what does that mean? Don't know, man. I mean, it's a pretty market economy.
Right.
It's a lot of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
People are buying and selling and trading and all that, man. I mean, not really any different from Thailand. They got a night market here. They have quite a lot of businesses set up to cater to the tourist trade. So, yeah. And again, I'm not an expert. I would have to look into it a little more. Communist friends of ours that I've spoken to have a certain amount of skepticism about that here. So, Again, I don't know the details, but coming here, I mean, it's not like you would come here and be like, oh, yeah, this is a communist country. Like it's not visible in any meaningful way that I can see.
Right. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody very much for being here. 1172 strong in the YouTube chat, 325 strong over on Rumble. So Congressman Ro Khanna was originally going to be here at 1:15. Then they pushed it back to 1:30. And his contact person here just messaged me before the show and said that they pushed the votes back in D.C. until 1:40. So they, They pitched us a reschedule, but I said, well, is there any way we can make it work? Today we're on the air for basically 3 hours, so we could do any time while we're on. So if he could be here by like 2:30 or something like that, that would work, since they planned for the votes to last a half hour or 40 minutes. So we are, as of right now, planning for him to be here at around 2:30, and I'm awaiting final confirmation.
Okay.
From
All right,
his
well,
point person there, who messaged me at 1:07 during the countdown. So last minute reschedule, hopefully, knock on wood, if all goes according to plan. He'll be here in the second hour.
All right, my friend. This is, maybe you're familiar with the phrase tandoori fever. I have it. I have it bad.
Yeah,
I have
got it bad.
So
Got
that's
it
how.
bad. All right, let's move on here. Let's get started here with some material. So, Dan Bongino is back on the air. He came on for Groundhog Day, February 2nd. That's the return of Dan Bongino to his Rumble show, and he picked up right where he left off on Twitter, which is raging at the haters and the black pillars. So let's take a listen.
I want to address are the grifters out there who mistakenly thought I wasn't coming back. Now, I am back.
I'm back.
The Podfather is back.
The
I'm
Podfather
here
is
to take
back.
back this movement. This movement's been hijacked.
The Podfather is back, and I'm here to take back this movement. Yeah, you needed to go back to your podcast studio to take back the movement. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I am back. The Podfather is back, and I'm here to take back this movement. This movement's been hijacked by a small group of dipshits and bums and losers who are nothing but doomers under the frame of accountability. I'm all about accountability. I just showed you what we did or what we didn't. Did I not? I'm not sitting here going, hey, trust me, bro. I showed you. If you like it, great. If you don't, that is absolutely your constitutional right. You paid for it to go out and go, that sucked. I would have done something different. Okay, but you didn't. You didn't do anything different. I'm not sure if you volunteered to serve or not, but you didn't. You sat in the front row with your popcorn, ankle biting, throwing this popcorn at the ring at two guys in there sparring away, fighting for this country while you did shit. You just talked about it. So you didn't do anything.
You mean like you're doing now? Like, this is what I mean. Like, it's so moronic. Like, you didn't do shit but talk about it. All you did was talk, which is what I'm doing now. But I'm back. I'm back. The Podfather is back to doing what I'm ridiculing my haters for doing while I was in there working. Now I'm not in there working anymore. Now I'm back to talking about it. But God damn it, I'm not going to take any of your shit because I put in work for a year and looked like I was either going to cry or shit myself every time I appeared on camera for the entire time I was there. But now I'm back. I'm not going to deal with the black pillars and the haters.
And this guy's got a real problem with the schwitzing. Doesn't he have a makeup person to powder him or something?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, whether he's covering up the Epstein files or trying to make a rationale for returning to podcasting after completely disgracing himself once he got into the position that he claimed he would clean up Washington from. This guy's just constantly like he's in a steam room.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just always looks guilty. He does.
Now, I'm back on the air. I'm not going to take on every single thing in one day in one show. But I'm telling you right now, your bullshit, I'm done with it. The grifter bums, all you guys are a class of doomers. Everything sucks all the time. You would have done it different. You didn't do shit. You did nothing. You didn't volunteer. You didn't ask. You didn't give up your show to do. You did nothing. All you did was bullshit people and say nothing's happened.
We're sitting there with 5 million files. Did any of you show up at the FBI headquarters to volunteer to vet those files and scrub the president and all of his friends from them before they were released? No, you didn't. And now look what we got this week.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And then when we tell you, oh, it just happened, you move on to something else you say is not going to happen. And then when that happens, you move on to something else. You want to critique it, say you would have done better, step up. Step up. Go ahead. They got openings. You go try it. See what you're dealing with.
See what you're dealing with. All right.
Where
well, it wasn't done.
Did you get the balls?
Yeah, right.
Where the fuck did you get the?
Exactly. Well, he wasn't done. He wasn't done. This gets even dumber. Here he is explaining about the challenge of working in government is that you have access to things that the media doesn't have access to. And so the media can't possibly know what they're talking about because they don't have the insider access to the government. Forgetting, of course, that he is now part of the media again. So by this logic, why is he doing a show? Let's see. Let's see the brilliant Dan Bongino walk us through this.
To be disliked. There is no level 10 decision you're going to make that is going to make everybody happy. It's not going to happen. Period. There is no way. You saw it with all the stuff, the Epstein case, the other things we had to deal with. There is no decision you're going to make that is going to make everybody happy. And you have to deal with it. If you're there to be liked, you're in the wrong job. Get out right away. Third, and this is probably the most important takeaway, you're going to be misunderstood.
I like that. If you're there to be liked, it's not for you. Get out right away. You just got out. you just left. It's talking about how, hey, you know what? If you're just there to be liked, it's not a popularity contest, so you need to get the fuck out, like I did. Like, you quit. You quit after a year. You're supposed to be there for 4 years. You quit after the first year. It's amazing.
The Epstein case, the other things we had to deal with. There is no decision you're going to make that is going to make everybody happy. And you have to deal with it. If you're there to be liked, you're in the wrong job. Get out right away.
Like me. I got out. That's why I'm here now. Like, what are you talking about?
I realized that covering up for this criminal PDF file president and his friends was destroying any chance I had of getting back in on my grift.
Yeah, exactly.
Third, and this is probably the most important takeaway, you're going to be misunderstood. You're going to have a bunch of 18-year-old, Washington Post writers with no experience in the real world at all, commenting on your decisions you made with no background whatsoever as to why you made them. I get it. I mean, it's understandable. They're not read in on these programs. But I'll address this with President Trump later, how he's making decisions on Greenland and the Don Roe Doctrine based on a president's daily brief he gets every day that these media people have no idea. They don't even know what the freaking threats are. Like, oh, that's a crazy decision. How do you know? I don't know. I guessed. I read it in a Charlie Brown encyclopedia.
Okay, so if that's true, that the media can't possibly make informed decisions and comment on global affairs, then why did you come back to podcast? Like, what is the value that you're bringing to this now? Like,
you're arguing
it just
against your own show. Yeah.
You're arguing now against your own show. So I guess you should quit the show and go back to the FBI, since at the FBI you know things that we in the media can't possibly know. So then what are we talking about here? Why are we still talking to you? Why are you talking to us? Why are we listening? Like, it just makes no sense. No sense at all.
You don't know shit. You don't know anything. Just be honest that you don't know. You can have an opinion on it. I'm not telling you media people. I'm not telling you media people not to have an opinion. Have an opinion, great. It's a constitutional republic. But just be honest that you don't know shit. And he does. He's read in on all this stuff. So you're going to be misunderstood because there are things even now, obviously, I'm not going to be able to talk about. There are ongoing cases and other things. And you guys didn't pay me, the taxpayer, to go in there and come out here and try to be some superhero. You paid me to do the right thing. And the right thing involves keeping custody over information. So you're going to be misunderstood.
I like that.
Is that what we're calling it these days?
Yeah, keeping custody over information. So you're going to be misunderstood.
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like the deep state.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like something the deep stater would say.
Yeah, Exactly. So
Custody over information. That's a very deep state formulation.
that's right. He's got custody over information. Custody over information, says Mr. Dan Bongino. So that's how all that went. And then he did, of course, have Donald Trump on the show, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, about Donald Trump's plan to nationalize elections. But that was the crux of his return, picking up right where he left off, arguing that if you want to be liked, the government is no place for you. Therefore, I left after a year, and now that I'm back, I'm going to talk about stuff that I really can't possibly know about because I'm not in the government anymore. So, kind of argued against himself in two separate scenarios there.
I turned around, I looked at Cash, I said, hang on, doesn't this mean the call is coming from inside the house?
Right.
And he just looked at me with those crazy googly eyes and said, sure is.
Right. yeah, exactly.
That was when I realized I was in hell and I needed to get back to podcasting. I will be very interested to see what kind of numbers he does going forward. I would predict you're going to get a lot of morbid curiosity watch the first couple shows. You got to check in a month and see how he's doing, because I don't see what the rationale for his show is. So, somebody else tweeted this. I can't remember who it was. He seems to be completely clueless about the fact that his brand has been completely torched now. Right. Like you're this guy who built your whole online persona around being this fighter against the deep state. And then when you got in there, you covered up for them. That's certainly the perception from everybody, and including MAGA. Most of MAGA walked away as soon as him and Cash said, nothing to see in the files, nothing, we looked, no co-conspirators, that's it. What you're left with are the scum. Are the scum enough to give him anything like what he had? I can't see it. I don't know who's going to watch that show. You could see the tack he's going to try to take. He's going to be one more of these people who are just like, well, in for a penny, in for a pound on this administration. Like my star is hooked to that wagon for good or for ill now. Just got to hope that crazy bastard could turn this around, because otherwise we're all going down with him. But there's no way to pivot out of that now. Like, he really has no choice. Is there enough of an audience for that at this point? I don't see it. I don't think so.
Yeah, me neither. All right, let's take some super chats.
All right.
I got a copy
Got
over
a lot of folks today. Michael Castillo, Keaton, we had a gem show here in Tucson. I thought of you and bought a slab of 2.5 million year old petrified wood.
Oh my God.
Why does petrified wood make you think of Keaton?
Makes you think I thought of you when I looked at this 2.5 million year old piece of wood.
Yeah, I need to mail it to you. It's about 15, 20 pounds.
Oh, wow. Well, that's very kind of you, Michael. Just shoot us an email. We'll give you the P.O. box. I do appreciate that. Yeah, my parents used to sell beaded jewelry. They used to sell beaded jewelry, including like glass beads and semi-precious gemstones. So they've been to a few of those shows. Mm-hmm. And as I understand, Arizona, they actually mine turquoise in Arizona.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah. That makes sense. Me shoot skeet. Super sticker. Thank you. Spruce Wayne. Is it any wonder that in a society where people are seen as human resources equal to cattle, that the rich would eat children like a steak dinner? I keep pointing people to Professor Zhang's stuff on this, on how human sacrifice has always been a part of elite bonding. I think his theory makes a lot of sense. Brent Uendo, it's like when you want to join a gang, right? You gotta go kill somebody. It's kind of like that, right? It brings you into the group. Brent Uendo, man, Epstein was convicted in 2008. We've had 12 years of Dem admins that knew Trump was always an existential threat. So why wasn't it exposed? I know we know, but I want to hear them say it. You'll never hear them say it. You'll never hear them say it. I mean, yeah, obviously it's a, and that was always, you see, you have the MAGA people who come to you with that like it's a known. Why won't they do it? Because they're in it.
Right.
They're in it. You get these people who cannot imagine anyone who's not partisan. Like they can't imagine you're not going to take a bullet for the Dems. Like, of course they're in it. Oven the King. Ask him if he's going to ask Cash to come in since he committed perjury. Yeah, I don't think he'll be doing that. French Laundry. I had to pause Dave Smith's podcast to catch the best podcast. Love you all.
Good call.
Thank you. Good call. Good call. I am the boot. What's he doing over there today? Trying to privatize the sidewalk.
I am the boot.
I am the boot. A man protests in Minneapolis and gets shot, and you think of me? No, I am the boot.
I am the boot. That's right.
I am the boot. Watermelon. Ask him why he voted to send Israel $3.3 billion. Keaton's covering that side of the story, so that's on my esteemed colleague. Virtuoso. Dan Bongino is the pussiest podcaster alive. I like that one. All right, one more. Deep Green VO, a grifter calling out grifters. Fucking ironic. LMAO. Honestly, man, that's a lot of independent media, man. It's a lot of the worst people on earth calling out other worst people on earth.
Yeah. Let's take Landrews there because that's a big one. We'll take that one and then I'll go to some Rumble rants.
Oh, and I can also show off the new bell.
That's right.
It's pretty cool. All right, there we go. Dark Matter Zombies, aka Landrew, for 100. We are all Palestinian now. We are ruled by murderers and pedos. F Bongino, free Palestine, and we free ourselves. All right, so this is a bell straight from one of the Watts here in the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Luang Prabang, where I am now, and this will be the new bell, given that the person who gave us the original bell hates us now and has hated us for a couple years.
Yeah.
Ever since our post October 7th sake.
Yeah,
like they went
came out as anti-genocide.
Did not like that. So this will be the new bell. Oh, hang on. The person stuffed it up in there so that I could transport it without people wanting to kill me on the plane.
Yeah. Ah, there you go. Wow, look at that. That is pretty good. It's quite loud. So I don't know if you have to do that into the mic because it's pretty loud.
I don't see. I'm in the habit of doing that because people always complain they can't hear it.
Try it there. Yeah, there you go. That's better.
That's good.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
Yep.
That's
nice and loud and beautiful craftsmanship. Right. That was a beautiful bell. And no, I didn't pay $1,000 for that.
That's right.
It was actually, if you want to know, it was $34.
Oh, there you go. All right. Good deal. Viennix Prime, everything's a scam, everything's a lie, everything's hypocrisy, and so I don't comply. Thank you, Vienticus. Eric Rousseau, you see Kim Iverson's video on AI agents creating their own social media, a crazy Skynet shit. No, I didn't, actually. But that does sound crazy. Hey, they come to snuff the rooster. Yeah, here come the rooster. Yeah, he ain't gonna die. No, he ain't gonna. Nocturnal Human. Bongino didn't have half this bark in him when he was on the other side of the fence. Now he's brave. Yeah. Oh, no, it's easy to be brave from a podcast chair. We know that from experience.
Yeah.
Vienticus Prime. Bongino is acting like someone who's really angry because after masturbating in the most furious manner he's ever done in his entire life, all he got was a little dribble. Thank you, Vienticus. Appreciate that very much. All right. Let's move right on along.
Okay. So as you might have heard, our president has allegedly, me and Keaton had a conversation about this over a pizza I was having earlier.
Over pizza, yeah.
Over
an actual pizza. A literal pizza.
An excellent pizza. Excellent pizza that I had here in Laos. better than anything I've had outside of New York in the United States.
A literal pizza, we should add. A literal
pizza, not an FBI coded pizza.
Not a code word pizza, right?
Yeah, I didn't come to Laos for that.
Yeah.
You go to Thailand for that. And I was already, I'm out of Thailand now. No. We don't just trash everybody's pizza if it's actually good. If it's not made out of like fake cheese that you've made up in St. Louis.
Right.
We're not gonna trash your pizza. No, it was an excellent pizza. But we were talking about this, the use of the word allegedly. Allegedly, Donald Trump's anus has been ravaged by Miriam Adelson's 15-inch dildo. Allegedly. We don't know that for a fact, but some people are saying, some very smart people are saying that his anus has been ravaged by Miriam Adelson. So here he is reinforcing that idea for those who are inclined to believe such a horrible thing about the president of the United States.
Israel's eternal capital and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. Jerusalem became the capital. I also recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. You know, Miriam and Sheldon would come into the White House probably almost more than anybody outside of people that work there. And they were always after, and as soon as I'd give them something, always for Israel. As soon as I'd give them something, they'd want something else. I said, give me a couple of weeks, will you please? But I gave...
You know how the Jews are. You know how the Jews are. You give them an inch, they take a mile.
Them the Golan Heights, and they never even asked for it. You know, for 72 years... they've been trying to do the Golan Heights, right? And even Sheldon didn't have the nerve. But I said, you know what? I said to David Friedman, give me a quick lesson, like 5 minutes or less on the Golan Heights. And he did. And I said, let's do it. We got it done in about 15 minutes, right?
I mean, isn't that just embarrassing the way, and it's not the only clip like that, where he goes up on stage and he prances around and minces around, bragging about how the Adelsons own him. He's very proud of it. He loves to talk about how the Adelsons own him. Yeah, and then she said, Sheldon, maybe it's enough now. But no, he barged right into the Oval Office, and I did his bidding. Wow, that's a real alpha right there, man. Yeah, it's a real alpha. Daddy has needs, and apparently it's Miriam Strap-on. Those are the needs. All right, so you've probably seen this, but it's worth reminding you of this. This is from Unka, a very good account. You should follow if you don't. Israeli intelligence officer Ari Ben Menashe, can you tell they kicked me out of Hebrew school when I was 9, says Netanyahu is blackmailing Trump.
Presumably being used as a tool by the Israelis, helped to change the course of history in this region I'm speaking to you from.
Of course, a change thing. And they trapped a number of U.S. presidents by using Jeffrey Epstein. And it wasn't only about sex, it was also the money issue. Where was the money coming from? But everything is stuck over Gaza. And I believe the Israelis have the American government captive due to what happens with Epstein, or what happened in the past with Epstein. Rupert Murdoch, newspaper, Wall Street Journal, put out that card or something, a birthday card Trump sent to Epstein. Where do you think they got it from? And again, I don't think Trump wants to continue this war or the genocide. I think it's the Israelis holding him back.
Okay. Well, that's particularly significant, as we'll see at the end here. But wait, this is just crazy talk. This is just crazy talk. We're reassured here by Naftali Bennett, former Israeli prime minister. He took the Star Wars name for the first name, but not the last name. That's interesting. As a former Israeli prime minister with the Mossad, having reported directly to me, I say to you with 100% certainty, the accusation that Jeffrey Epstein somehow worked for Israel or the Mossad running a blackmail ring is categorically and totally false. Epstein's conduct, both the criminal and the merely despicable, had nothing whatsoever to do with the Mossad or the state of Israel. Epstein never worked for the Mossad. This accusation is a lie being peddled by prominent online personalities such as Tucker Carlson, pretending they know things they don't. They just make things up, say it with confidence, and these lies stick because it's Israel. Every accusation is a confession. There's a vicious wave of slander and lies against my country and my people, and we just won't take it anymore. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Next time we genocide even more people if you keep saying these things. Christopher Halali. Nothing to see here, folks. Just former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak hanging out at Epstein's New York City apartment, all masked up. This is from that picture is from 2016, where he stayed at Epstein's mansion, I believe, 4 times in 2016. There are several pictures of him staying there at that time. Our friend, the inimitable Nick Cruz, this aged like milk. Now you guys see why literally every single Zionist was trying to downplay the Epstein files. Yes, they were. Hey, this rabbi implies that the reason Trump has recently, this from August, become embroiled in the Epstein scandal is that he refused to bomb Iran for a full week. This is clear and open blackmail. You know, a lot of people are questioning, like, why didn't they redact Trump's name from all these files? Well, you know, there's some speculation. It's because he didn't bomb Iran. And this seems to imply that. Now, this was back in August when he did bomb Iran, but he didn't go far enough, according to this Rebbe. Trump decided to bomb Iran's nuclear sites, and that's commendable. But reports later surfaced that he rejected the option to bomb for a week's time in order to finish off all the sites. Thus, only Fordo was severely damaged, while other sites had only minimal or no damage. And now some old files are threatening him. Perhaps Trump will realize that it really doesn't pay to start up with Israel. Perhaps those implicated in the files will express contrition and regret. Because when by divine providence, and by divine providence I mean Mossad, things that were hidden become revealed, it enables people to correct their mistakes and to endeavor to live their lives properly the way God wants them to. Yo, man, that is some mafia shit right there. Well, you know, maybe if you come to your senses, we can stop humiliating you in public with these files. But recently, Miriam went on stage, and, you know, this is what you have to remember about Israelis. They openly brag very often about these things they do that horrify people because, one, they're used to having impunity, and two, the idea that they're smarter than everybody else and that they're powerful and that they manipulate world events, which obviously plays to a lot of very dangerous stereotypes. They're proud of that. They're proud of that. That's why you see them bragging about it so often on stage, even though it's clearly very damaging to their overall cause, because it's very woven into the DNA of Zionist psychology. To think like Munich, like, yeah, Munich is about this moral ambiguity, the film, but it's also kind of bragging about how efficiently they went and took these people out. Make no mistake, Zionists are very proud of things like that, of the idea that their intelligence services are going around and assassinating people.
Well,
over the years with politicians at the state.
No, obviously we played this on the Katie Halper show, and it's just kind of an incredible scene. It's obviously just like I couldn't believe this the first time I saw this. This broke right before we went on. Yeah.
Well, this is why I'm saying that. Like, you have to understand, they're proud of it. Look at how the audience reacts. They're proud of it.
Yeah. Miri, you and Sheldon created a lot of relationship over the years with politicians at the state level, especially at the federal level. I want you to share with everyone, why is it so important and how do you do it? Again, writing checks is part of it, but there is more than writing just checks. So how do you do it?
Can you allow me not to answer?
You choose.
I want to be truthful, and there are so many things that I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want specific, but that's okay.
Look, they clap.
But everyone should know here how important it is
keep
to
a
get
secret.
involved.
The blackmail
the reason that
secret.
both of you were able to make huge differences is because you got involved. And you spent a lot of time and yes, money, a lot of money on it, but you got involved and you cared. And that's what everyone here need to know. That.
Okay, so this is what I'm trying. If you're not Jewish, if you grow up in that community, that is a lot of the mindset they try to indoctrinate you with, like that. The Jewish intelligence services, that the Zionist Israeli intelligence services, that they're the best, that the Israeli army, they're the best, right? It's very much a part of the whole mindset. Like, that's why if you watch Munich, it has very much encoded within it the whole Zionist worldview. They're victims, and because they're victims, they're forced into these morally dark places that they don't want to go, but they have to. But then when they go there, they do it better than anyone else. That is really a 101 insight into the psychology of Zionists. That film is very much the whole Zionist worldview right there. What Golda Meir said, maybe one day we can forgive them for killing our children, but we can never forgive them for making us kill theirs. A better summation of the victim complex of Zionists you could not find than that statement. So, which brings us to this latest batch of Epstein files. Just in, FBI report citing a confidential human source released in the final batch of Epstein files claims Trump has been compromised by Israel, as many responded, "Oh, you don't say." You don't say. I didn't really need this file to know that. So CHS, confidential human source, advised Chabad is doing everything they can to co-opt the Trump presidency. Chabad is basically state-sanctioned Judaism. It is used by Putin to keep tabs on all the Russo-Jewish oligarchs. On the day Trump was elected president, Ivanka Trump and Jared were at the gravesite of Rabbi Schneerson, who was the most powerful rabbi in the Chabad network. Jared didn't disclose his stake in Cadre because of its ties to the Russian state and FI. CHS believed this was/is the real Russian collusion story. Kushner has moved a lot of Russian investment money around. The FBI should investigate Kushner's family charities to find evidence of corruption and money laundering. Chabad routinely uses charities to launder money. Now, I mentioned this. I haven't had time. I wanted to show this film at the top of the show Sunday. There's a Chabad house here. I found it. Like the first night I was here, I filmed outside of it, man. Why you got a Chabad house in the middle of Laos? Who's funding that? Where does the money for that come from? It's a pretty big, like, it's a compound, basically, with like barbed wire in the middle of Laos. Why is that here? They got 6 of them in Thailand. CHS provided the attached article entitled, quote, Jim McGreevy and His Main Man by Craig Horowitz, published 9/10/2004. While the article is old and centered on Charles Kushner, it highlights and documents the deep ties the Kushner family has with Israel and their history of corrupt business practices and alleged violations of election laws. CHS stated that if the FBI is serious about investigating the Kushners and their relationships with Middle East, they should look closely at Ken Kurson, who knows everything. CHS advised Henry Kissinger introduce Charles to Kui Tiankai, the Chinese ambassador to the U.S., a relationship that could have been helpful at around the same time of the introduction, and Bang was entering negotiations with the Kushners over 666 Fifth Avenue. For those of you who are not familiar with New York City, yes, indeed, there is a 666 Fifth Avenue. And, I guess they finally decided it wasn't good for the building to have a big red lighted sign on the side of the building that said 666. But for many decades, you would see that coming down Fifth Avenue. You would see 666. Did nothing to convince Alex Jones that New York is not a godless mecca for Satan. So Zay Squirrel here linking to this report, which that was only part of it. There's more to it. Everything I said is true. Mossad has tapes of Trump raping children in a Tel Aviv vault, and they own him. This release was to push him to launch the war on Iran, or else we get the tapes. Now, we don't know that, but a lot of people are speculating that that's why you got these files now, and it's why, very uncharacteristically, Trump's name is all over them, that it is a warning from the Israelis. Well, the next step is we release the tapes. Clearly, a lot of the figures, whatever the truth, we covered something the other night that, a lot of these are just things people called in on the tip line, there's unverified, a lot of stuff like that. What's absolutely incontrovertible is that a lot of people who, certainly it was well after Epstein's conviction as a PDF file, were associating quite closely and intimately with Jeffrey Epstein. And a lot of these people who are in public life behave in a way that can only be explained as being compromised in some way, like Donald Trump. Does it make any sense that Donald Trump would basically light his entire movement on fire with the moves he makes around Israel? Donald Trump. Donald Trump gives everybody a nickname, curses everybody, right? Every time Ghislaine Maxwell comes up, I wish her well. I wish her well. Her boyfriend, he's dead. I feel bad for anybody. Does that seem like Donald Trump? Elon. Does Elon seem like the kind of guy who'd put on the kippah and go to Auschwitz? Does that make any sense to you? Unless he's compromised. So yeah, some people will claim, well, there's no hard proof. Well, that by definition in a cover-up, by definition, you usually don't have hard proof. But there's quite a lot of smoke here for there not to be a fire. I mean, it just really comes down to Occam's razor. What's a better explanation for Donald Trump's behavior or Elon Musk's behavior or the behavior of a lot of people who are named in these files? That they are compromised by blackmail material, or that they just have a very uncharacteristic tendency to submit to the will of this one particular country, unlike the way they behave in every other situation.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, if he is intelligence, which it's a virtual certainty that he was, I mean, that just adds a whole nother layer to the story on top of what's already kind of knowable and provable, which is that all these people were cavorting with him long after his 2008 case, right? Like like if there is now, you know, a government operation behind this guy, well, that adds a whole new layer of importance to an already existing scandal, right? If it like what is the advantage to being networked with Epstein past a certain point, right? You have to ask yourself that. And the way you evaluate that is one way if he's not intelligence, it's another way if he is, right? I mean, it's really really eerie, dark stuff, you know. And you know, when you look at the possibility, like, okay, if it's a blackmail operation that is tied to Israeli intelligence, just think of what another layer of evil that adds to what we already know about Israel. That this is part of a blackmail operation. I mean, you're talking about very, very serious accusations here, contrary to Michael Tracy's categorization. We're not talking about he had sex one time with a 17-year-old before she turned 18, right? I mean, obviously, the accusations go a lot further than that, as we've seen this week. And if 99% of them are false and 1% of them is true, well, that still makes this the scandal of the century, in my view.
Yeah, well, of course, in millions of documents, you're going to have a lot of bullshit in there. Is that really the story? Because when you look at what's verifiable, well, it's kind of irrelevant that there's stuff. I mean, in any police report, you're going to have false leads. So does that invalidate the real ones that pan out? Like that whole focus just makes absolutely no sense. Like the whole formulation, well, that's all he was convicted of. I mean, that's a ridiculous emphasis to take that out of context in that way. Like, well, you know, nothing to see here because that's all they convicted about. You know, there's like when a corporation pollutes a town and just pays a light fine. Well, they couldn't have done anything that bad.
Right. Exactly.
They would have gotten a bigger fine.
Exactly. All right. Let's move on right along here. Eric Rousseau, here they come to snuff the rooster. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Got that one already. Vienticus Prime. I got kidney stones that offer more value in substance than whatever this nonsense Bongino is saying. Thank you very much, Vienticus. Appreciate that. Andrew L479, thanks for the $10. Are you guys familiar with Crack Amico? Check out his damn Bongino song on YouTube. Maybe something for the Shuffle Pod. No, I am not.
You know what? I think probably I think we're talking about the same song. I was going to use that in the intermission a couple weeks back. And then, you know what it was? Parenti died. So I did a Parenti tribute instead. But I will try to get that into the intermission this week. I'm almost positive we're talking about the same song.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's see. Abiding says Zionism fatigue can't even look forward to a Super Bowl without knowing which owner is personal friends with Netanyahu. Well, without knowing which owners, well, obviously the Patriots owner is, but does the Seahawks? Do the Seahawks also have a
wasn't
Netanyahu?
The Giants owner? Wasn't the Giants owner exposed also? Am I wrong about that?
I don't know. I know the Patriots. I know Robert Kraft is a big Zionist, but I don't know who owns it. Like, are the Seahawks tied to Israel as well? I not to my knowledge. In fact, what's his name? Pete Carroll. He's not their coach anymore. He was a 9/11 truth guy.
So, was he really?
Yeah. So there's a big difference there. But he's not the coach of the team anymore. All right, you want to take some super chats over there?
Sure. Swiftiest John, 4 row. How is the deportation of people legally in the system federally legal, and why is it not part of democratic demands? Hashtag justice for Hans. We do not have a lot of time with Ro Khanna, so Our question schedule is pretty tight. Turk Yurdu. U.S. must learn to not MSPF and PDFS Prez, please. What's the first one? MSPF?
MSPF. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, what is that? Sazer 78. Ask Roe if he remembers his conversation with Nick Cruz. Oh, I'm sure he does.
I'm sure he does.
I'm sure he does. That's what you call a poor use of our limited time. I think we can assume he does. Lee Hawthorne. Is it possible to be a socialist and poly without being a stereotype? Also, ICE leaving death cards when they grab someone is horrible. You know what, man? We're doing the Kennedy Center thing later on, and something that definitely did occur to me because I read through an article that had a paragraph or two about every single artist that canceled. And this is how thoroughly the psyoping of the left that actually Michael Parenti did some of the best work exposing this. Caleb Maupin writes about this very well, how they took this upper class version of the left, this lifestyle left, and made it the left. And you can really see that because in the statements that they make, none of them say, yeah, well, as a socialist, I can't perform there. As a communist, I can't perform there. As somebody who believes in working class justice for the working class, I can't perform there. What you get is, as a queer woman, I can't perform there.
Right.
That's the psyop, man. That's all. That's it. If you had that mixed in with those things, I'd say fine, but you don't. You don't. Like, they have been psyoped into seeing that as the ultimate expression of your left position, of left defiance. The idea that that the economics are the core of leftism, that's been completely brainwashed out of them, especially in the arts, as we often lament. Savmad, to piggyback on a previous message, to the elite, we are cattle and our children are veal to be used and consumed. Hells yeah. Matt, turns out the Haitians eating the dogs and the cats is relatively benign,
right,
compared to what our ruling class is up to. Matt from Wisconsin. Of course, I am joking. I do not believe that the Haitians did that. After hearing Bill Clinton is in the files, I had to throw out my BC hat, all my BC yard signs, my BC commemorative coin, and my freezer of BC steaks.
And sell your BC crypto.
Yeah. See, I'm we got a lot of youngins here, man. I'm probably one of the few in our space that voted for Bill Clinton as my first election that I voted in. I was old enough. I had just turned 18. I was old enough to vote for Bush 1, but I didn't. Right. I didn't vote in that election. I didn't register in time, but I did vote for Clinton. P.W. Walker, damn, Bongino's credibility didn't kill itself.
Good one.
Richard Pemberton, Matt and Walter didn't have time to discuss Epstein yesterday. Yeah. They have plenty of time to dunk on Don Lemon, though. Is that what they wound up doing?
Somebody saw the clip and send it to us. Yeah.
Well, you watched some of that show live, right?
I watched a little bit of it live, and they were talking about, I forget what they were talking about. Something obviously much more important than the Epstein files. I forget what it was. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, they were at the top. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, we don't have time for that today.
We don't have time for that nonsense. Lesbian dance theorist. So Miriam is Bubba, huh? I assumed it was Hillary, but that makes sense. He'll do anything for $1. And allegedly, so will his wife. Allegedly.
Yeah, exactly.
Allegedly. We want to emphasize that. Allegedly.
Exactly.
Kuznetsky Bassane, the Don is all done. All right.
All right. Very well. All right. We're going to go on to
I'll find Landry's sound drop.
Oh, yeah. Find Landry's sound drop for sure. Let me take a couple of these.
Landru. Landru is dead.
They hate us because our bell is beautiful and theirs is weak. That's right. That's right, Nocturnal Human. Thank you very much for that. All right, we're going to do another segment here. Let me just make sure I have all of this ready to go here. I should, right? Yes, I do. There it is. And there it is. Okay, good. Okay, all right. Excellent. So don't send us any more super chats with questions for Ro Khanna, because at this point, I don't know if he's coming, because I just got another message from his assistant there. I texted it to you. So we're going to take a break after this segment and see if we can reach out to them. But, you know, really, really surprised that he would say he's going to do something over and over and over again and then not do it. You know, that was one of my questions actually for him. You know, like, remember during the Build Back Better thing, you said over and over and over again for months and months on end how you weren't going to cave and pass the bullshit infrastructure bill along, if the Build Back Better couldn't pass and then you did it anyway. This is, you know, history repeats itself, right?
A-O-O.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is history repeating itself. So we will see. I don't want to say anything finally because I just sent out a couple of more texts, but we will take a short break after this segment and then we will come back.
Yeah. Conference.
Yeah, we will call a brief huddle after this segment and then we'll be back. But let's do this segment first. So Dan Bongino got a big scoop on his return to Rumble. Got an interview with the President of the United States. Well, I guess didn't feel it was important enough to video in. He audioed in. Look at that portrait. Look how serious he looks. And here's Donald Trump saying that the Republicans need to take control of our elections and nationalize the voting. Why? Because there are states that I won that show I didn't win. Wow. Let's take a look at this.
Brought to our country to vote, and they vote illegally. And amazing that the Republicans aren't tougher on it. The Republicans should say, we want to take over. We should take over the voting in at least 15 places. The Republicans ought to nationalize the voting. And we have states that are so crooked, and they're counting votes. We have states that I won that show I didn't win. Now you're going to see something in Georgia where they were able to get, with a court order, the ballots. You're going to see some interesting things come out.
You're going to see some interesting things come out. So just a quick game break. What he's referring to there is this. Now, we don't really know what exactly this is about yet. Gabbard says Trump requested her presence at FBI search of Georgia Election Center. Interesting. Now, we don't exactly know what's going on with that. But it looks like they're cooking up some bombshell that might be a pretext to take control of the elections.
Like the 2020 election. I won that election by so much. Everybody does it. They put a woman in jail, Colorado, put a woman in jail, a wonderful woman, 72 years old, had cancer, because she was a voting inspector. She was in charge of a voting area, and she saw boxes of votes come in. So she went over to check it, and they put her in jail for voter manipulation, and she's still in jail. And they better let her out fast. And they're suffering a big price, Colorado. They have this woman in jail who's 71 years old and probably has cancer. She's sick. And they put her in.
Probably has cancer. You don't know whether she has cancer or not. First he said she has cancer. Probably has cancer. I don't know. She's looking pretty thin. She's looking pretty thin there. I don't know. If I had to guess, I'd say it was cancer.
Because she challenged somebody that was dumping ballots into a box, okay? And they didn't put them in jail. This was during Biden's term. The worst president in history. And we had some bad ones. I mean, look, Barack Hussein Obama, I call him the Great Divider. People couldn't stand him. You mentioned his name, they go crazy. They start booing the hell out of him.
I'm sure that's true in your circles. I'm sure that's true if you tailgate outside of a Trump rally. I'll give you that. All right, we don't have to listen to the rest of that rambling and ranting here. But this was the news. Trump urges Republicans to take over and nationalize voting. President Donald Trump on Monday called on Republicans to take over and nationalize voting as he continued to make false claims about the electoral process in the U.S. with the 2026 midterm elections on the horizon. The Constitution gives states the authority to conduct federal elections subject to laws passed by Congress. The Elections Clause states, in part, that state legislatures will establish the times, places, and manner of holding elections for the House of Representatives and the Senate. Yes, it is pretty clearly laid out in the Constitution that the state will dictate those sorts of election-related terms. Trump didn't elaborate on how he wanted Republicans to, quote, nationalize voting. Asked by ABC News for specifics on what Trump meant, White House spokesperson Abigail Jackson responded, President Trump cares deeply about the safety and security of our elections. That's why he's urged Congress to pass the SAVE Act and other legislative proposals that would establish a uniform standard of photo ID for voting, prohibit no-excuse mail-in voting, and end the practice of ballot harvesting. So this is now the thing on X. You know, that whole I support the current thing, how they used to make fun of the lib NPCs for, you know, all of a sudden, you know, they say this is the thing you all have to signal. Well, this is now the thing that everybody's been signaling on X for the last day. That the Senate has to stop dragging its feet and pass the SAVE Act, even though they cannot pass the SAVE Act without abolishing the filibuster, because it's not budget related, so they need 60 votes, and of course they're not going to get 60 votes. So Scott Pressler says, I will not lift a finger. I will not recruit donors. I will not recruit volunteers. And I will not help in any shape, form, or fashion any member of Congress that does not support the SAVE Act, to include bringing the SAVE Act to the Senate floor for public debate. Respectfully, yeah, I'm sure they're really shaking in their boots. They don't want to lose your support. Did them a lot of good in New Jersey. Right? This guy was campaigning in the New Jersey governor's race. They lost by 13 points. It was a disaster. It was terrible. He did a terrible job. It went very badly for him. Here's Alex Jones posting, for some reason, an ad read for some kind of knife that he's trying to sell. But above that, he says, SAVE Act, call Congress now. Puts the Senate hotline there. The House will have the opportunity this week to add the SAVE Act as an amendment to the must-pass government funding bill. That's right. Mario Nawfal, 35 members of Congress are calling on Mitch McConnell to stop delaying the SAVE Act and schedule the committee markup so it can move forward. Right now, the bill is stuck because it can't reach a full Senate vote without that step. The clock is ticking. Nick Sorter, breaking. Chuck Schumer just announced he will force an extended government shutdown if the SAVE Act, requiring proof of citizenship to vote, comes to the Senate. Dems know they will never win an election again if only citizens vote. Nuke the filibuster, he says, and pass the SAVE Act. Now, Chuck Schumer has said the SAVE Act would impose Jim Crow-style restriction on voting. It will be dead on arrival in the Senate. There's his full comment. We don't have to read his full comment, but obviously the Democrats are a no on this, which means unless they abolish the filibuster, which truly is a nuclear option, they're not getting the SAVE Act through. Trump himself seems to understand this. Trump undercuts GOP push to attach SAVE Act to shutdown bill as conservatives threaten mutiny. A cohort of House Republicans, led by Representative Anna Paulina Luna from Florida, wants to see the SAVE Act attached to the 5-bill funding package plus short-term extension for the Department of Homeland Security. It would require states to obtain proof of citizenship in person when people register to vote and remove non-citizens from voter rolls. So when you register to vote, you would have to bring a proof of citizenship with you. I am working hard, says Donald Trump, with Speaker Johnson to get the current funding deal, which passed in the Senate last week, through the House and to my desk, where I will sign it into law immediately. We need to get the government open, and I hope all Republicans and Democrats will join me in supporting this bill and send it to my desk without delay. There can be no changes in this time. We will work together in good faith to address the issues that have been raised, but we cannot have another long, pointless, and destructive shutdown that will hurt our country so badly. We can't fight a war with Iran with a partially shut down government. No, that wasn't in there, but I bet that's where he's coming from, if I had to guess. One that will not benefit Republicans or Democrats. I hope everyone will vote yes. Now,
I don't want you to see those tapes, and
in reality, you don't want to see those tapes, so let's get the government open.
Yeah, exactly. Now, as for this talk of nationalizing elections, what did we say? I mean, we've said if you look at polling, if you look at election results, most dramatically, the results in Texas over the weekend, the writing is pretty clearly on the wall that absent cheating, the Republicans are going to lose very big and very badly. Now, cheating can mean a number of things. Cheating can mean declaring martial law, suspending the election entirely. Cheating can mean just massive, broad-based voter suppression tactics, which, of course, the SAVE Act would fall under that umbrella. Now, if that is not going to happen, absent a nuking of the filibuster, well, then what option does that leave you? This is something that Russell and I have both talked about as a likelihood. If they don't pass the SAVE Act, in other words, if they feel that the election is vulnerable to illegal meddling and illegal voting, well, what are they going to do? They're going to send ICE out as election monitors. I think that is a very strong likelihood because I think nationalizing the election process is just too heavy a lift. I mean, it's explicitly unconstitutional. I doubt even this Supreme Court would uphold any effort to do that. I don't think they're going to get the SAVE Act through because I think Republicans are going to be too fearful of the electoral consequences of nuking the filibuster over that. There's a reason they haven't done that, is because that is, you talk about a Hail Mary, you talk about a 90-yard pass. That's what that is. And these individual members don't want to get voted out. So I don't think that's a likelihood. So what does that leave them? Do they just sit back and say, oh, I guess the Democrats are going to win 30 seats then, and we'll just get impeached for the next 2 years straight? No, I don't think they're going to give up that easy. I think at this point, once they exhaust other options, they're going to say, we're going to send ICE out to monitor these polling places in the hopes of suppressing the Latino vote, which if you look at the results from all of these special races, the one most consistent and most dramatic trend has been Latinos from red in 2024 to blue in 25. And now in our first big test of 2026, the Latino vote was as dramatic as ever in Texas, which is especially dangerous since there's a Senate race in Texas and Democrats have had their eye on Texas for a long time and they've never been able to pull it out. But between the Epstein files depressing the base, between the inflation just crushing them with independents, add a 50-point Latino swing to that, and Texas is all of a sudden kind of winnable for Democrats. And so, you know, that to me is their ace in the hole. Not nationalization, not the SAVE Act, but an executive command to deploy the troops to secure our precious voting process against the illegal voters. That's what I think is going to be their last ditch effort. And that's what I think they're going to go with.
Well, what they're going to do, if I had to predict how that would go down, they'll send out ICE. They'll send ICE on missions to round up illegal immigrants in all of the districts and states where they feel threatened. Hey, look, man.
They don't even have to do that. Sorry to cut you off, but if they just have them patrol on election day, that'll scare people into staying home.
But that's the excuse. That's the excuse for sending ICE in, because technically that's not their mission to secure election integrity. So they'll say they're running, immigration operations as a pretense to send them in there. Listen, man, you don't have to be a smarty pants like Nate Silver to predict how a free and fair election will go. All you have to do is look at the map of places where Melania sold more than 100 tickets. Those places are safe. Those places are safe Republican districts. Everything else is going blue unless you send the troops in.
They should re-release Melania the week before Election Day just to test the waters. All right, we're selling tickets. We don't need ICE. Where we're not selling tickets, we need ICE. Yeah,
that's some free advice for you if you're running a campaign this year. You don't need Nate Silver.
No, you don't need consultants.
Just look at the Melania box office. You're covered.
Exactly. All right, let's take some super chats and then we'll do a quick game break. We'll do a break. We're going to throw some music on for a few minutes and see what's going on with Rokana.
All right, Dark Matter Zombie gifted 1 Due Dissidence membership. Thank you, Landrew. John Trevina, these are a confederacy of nonces.
Yeah, I like that.
It's one of my favorite novels, by the way. Shai Guevara, standard intelligence tactic when encryption isn't practical possible. Flood the channels with fake data along with the real. By the time the enemy works out the difference, it's too late. Soviets, Russians call it maskirovka. Maskarovka. Like masquerade. Yeah. Sean Hurl, I ask myself why U.S. people do not rise up. Do I ask myself that every day? Well, you know what, man? If you look at history, most people are just trying to survive and they don't want to stick their necks out like that. As a rule, people have to be pretty desperate before they're going to have a revolution. If you look at any place that really had a revolution, people were starving, man. People were starving. French Revolution, the Russian Revolution, the Cuban Revolution. People have to be desperate to the point that it's worth their lives to overthrow the government.
Yeah, it's a really bad time. It's a bad time, and not only is it a bad time, but because this country is so big and because it's so militarized, I mean, they would just drone your ass. Like, they would be able to crush it in a few days, and that's not an exaggeration. So
yeah.
So
The Tsar
really
did not have the means at his disposal.
Yeah, he didn't have Palantir, he didn't have drones. Right. It's just like it's fantasy. It's not going to happen. It just cannot happen.
I mean, through more general strike kind of means.
No, I mean, like political and economic action. But
then you got to be organized, and the purpose,
exactly.
as Keaton showed in his segment there, you notice every few days, every week or so, there's a new kind of culture war distraction that everyone's supposed to rally around. So the whole Save Act thing. That's it, man. They get their marching orders, just like corporate media, man. Just like corporate media. They get their marching orders and they drum the Save Act. And you get very psychologically and emotionally vulnerable people who are really drawn into that shit. Who are going to be, yeah, the Save Act, the Save Act, the Save Act, the Save Act. Right. And you'll tell them something else next week and they'll obsess on that. Right. It's sad. And libs are the same way, man. I'm not saying this is a partisan thing. But that's the purpose of it. It's to give people the illusion of doing something. You know what it is? It's like smoking, man. When I was a smoker for 27 years and I figured out like part of the attraction of smoking is it tricks your brain into thinking you're doing something, right? Because you're smoking, right? You're doing something. Your brain thinks that you're satisfying a need, you're doing something. That's what that is, man. It gives you the illusion that you're doing something. That's the purpose of it. You're not actually doing anything. They want to keep you distracted with the illusion that you're doing something so that you do nothing. And the population is so distracted in that way. Older people by corporate media, younger people by social media. That's a big part of what makes it very difficult. Like, you want a real revolution of any kind, whether peaceful or nonviolent, it's going to really take an expansion of consciousness. Like, people are going to have to wake up. They're going to have to, they used to talk about it all the time in the 60s and 70s, not by accident, not anymore. Consciousness raising, right? Making you more aware. People are at such a low level of awareness now. It's very difficult. P.W. Walker. When I said I wanted to see Don in jail, I meant Don Trump, not Lemon. A poor bastard. Richard Pemberton. I almost feel bad for that guy. I've got you beat, Russ. My first vote was Jimmy Carter. Your first vote was my first political impersonation. I used to impersonate Jimmy Carter as a child. It's almost like I was destined to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Kuznetsky, I used to crack up the grown-ups. Kuznetsky Bassane, Roe bailed, must have received orders from above. Well, we got a conference. All right, you want to take some Rumble rants?
Yeah, let's take some Rumble rants. All right. Stoop Sign says Provel is the code word for an extra clammy, mucousy, anorexic weight. Abiding, Milquetoast Aaron Mate saying there's no proof to Epstein-Israel ties, now apologizing for Chomsky teetering towards M. Tracy behavior. Yeah, I saw that tweet. That he sent about that. Look, a lot of people on the left are very attached to Chomsky. I don't quite get it. Like, I don't really see why. Like, look, man, like Jerry Seinfeld revealed himself to be a piece of shit. I'm never going to stop quoting the Seinfeld Show. I think it's one of the great works of art ever produced by human beings.
Woody Allen, man. I grew up on Woody Allen. Man.
Yeah.
Woody Allen had a lot to do with my formative years. Like the idea of like a Brooklyn kid from a working class neighborhood thrown in with these Manhattan intellectuals. That was my life. Like I found it very relatable as a kid. I'm not going to throw him out, but I'm not going to rehabilitate him either.
I mean, Noam Chomsky's career has really been very much like Woody Allen's, ironically. Like, he's made a few masterpieces, but also pinched out a few real turds, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, what's wrong with that? Like, I don't really get the need to either cancel or not cancel Noam Chomsky.
Right, exactly.
You know, like, you don't have to do either one. You know, Aaron is a very good-natured person, very well-adjusted, good-natured, and forgiving person. I mean, his father is Gabor Mate. If I had a father like Gabor Mate, I'd be a good-natured, forgiving person as well. But I didn't draw those cards, so I'm a resentful, angsty fuck, right? So maybe that's the difference. But I think Aaron's good nature in this case.
He grew up in a family of carnies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think the Aaron's good-naturedness has clouded his judgment in this way. I think. Yes, that's what I would say.
He's a sweet guy.
He's a very good guy, of course.
Nice.
Of course. Yes. All right. What else we got over here? Stoop sign. Greetings from Dublin. Russ, are you anywhere near the Golden Triangle? And do you have a soft spot for hard drugs? Have you gotten into Yaba or Yum Yum? I used to love opium tea.
Okay, so I believe I am. So the Golden Triangle is the old like Vietnam War era drug routes. I mean, that's my understanding of what it is. Yeah, I mean, I think that's right in this area, right? But that was back in the day. And to answer your question, no, I have always stayed away from hard drugs. I did quite a lot of weed and mescaline when I was a teenager. I don't even think they have that anymore. Mescaline was around a lot, more than acid actually when I was a teenager. But I always stayed away from the hard stuff, man, because I didn't want to be a freaking cautionary tale, man. I did coke 3 times. The first time I didn't get the appeal. The second time I didn't get the appeal. The third time I really liked it, and that's why I never did it again.
There you go. See, I've never done any shit like that. I don't trust myself. I'm too crazy.
Yeah,
like I would do something crazy. That was always what I said. I said I would never do drugs like that. I'm too crazy for it. I would not survive it. You know,
right,
when I was in college, we lived on a 6th floor dorm, and some of these kids were taking mushrooms. So one of the kids, you know, they offered me some mushrooms. I said, no, thank you. No, man, I can't. And then, so, you know, they were doing mushrooms. So this one kid gets fucked up on mushrooms. He walks out onto the 6th floor balcony, middle of winter, takes his jacket off, throws his jacket off the 6th floor balcony. So I nudged my friend on my elbow. I said, see, the reason I can't take mushrooms is if I took mushrooms, I'd throw myself off the balcony.
Yeah.
I wouldn't throw the jacket off. There I would go. Like, I'm too nuts. So I always had a lot of discipline about that. I just never trusted myself with it.
I mean, I did a fair amount of psychedelics. I will say that. But past a certain point, I felt like I was. See, me when I took psychedelics, it's very much like I travel. I don't really take a vacation. Right. I go to every heritage site, and I was the same with tripping. Like when I tripped, I felt like you have 8 hours of hyper consciousness. Why would you waste it, bugging out on the wallpaper? Like I wanted to use it to think. I would think and think and think and think. Past a certain point, I felt like I had figured out everything you're going to figure out that way. And that's when I stopped. Probably tripped out, maybe like 30 times, I would say.
RB says, what are the odds that currently Epstein, Corey Comparator, and Charlie Kirk are sipping Mai Tais on the beach of an undisclosed private Caribbean island? Could be Epstein Island. Who knows? I mean, we think that's uninhabited now. They could just still be there. Somebody needs to get the surveillance footage. Maybe that's where Michael Tracy is. Maybe he's like, all right, you know what? I got to get to the island. I got to investigate this myself now because the plot has thickened. And maybe there's no internet out there, and that's why he hasn't.
That could be it.
He could be doing a secret fact-finding mission out to the island. Could be on a rowboat somewhere and out there now.
As you can see, there's nothing on this island other than an ATM and a cabana.
Yeah, and 325 boxes of pizza. Turns out they do eat a lot of pizza.
Turns out the pizza was pizza.
It was actually
pizza after all.
Who knew?
So I think a lot of people owe me an apology, starting with those two Jew bastards who interviewed me.
Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he's going out there with 500 pizza boxes to plant them all over the island to try and prove that it was really pizza.
I mean, what is it now? A week?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Somebody needs to check on him. And
yeah,
sadly,
I'm starting to.
He doesn't seem like the kind of guy that anyone would notice if he died until it started to stink in the hallway.
Yeah, I mean, I am starting to get a little bit worried. Honestly, it is a little concerning. Make sure to ask Roe about blackmail controlling our government. Just saw 20 minutes of Roe on Breaking Points talking about Epstein, but this never came up. Well, we'll keep that in mind for 6 months from now. Vienticus Prime, in regard to Eric Cusseau's rant before about the AI, personally, I think the site shows that AI bots are just as much fucking regarded dipshits as humans. All right, Papa John's. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Papa John's not on the list. All right, let's take a little break. All right, folks, I'm going to throw up a countdown and see what's going on here, and then we will be back in a few minutes. I'm going to put up a 4.5-minute timer. We could be back before then, so pay no attention to the timer. We'll be back as soon as possible. Won't be longer than 4.5 minutes, though. All right, let's mute up. All right, we're back. Can you hear me? Did you unmute? Sorry about that. Quick way.
I did.
All right, perfect.
Yep.
Beautiful. All right, so yeah, we've not heard anything back. The last communication we had was an hour ago, or about an hour ago, when they said they're going to have to reschedule. So that's that. You know, this feels a lot like being a Democrat. This it's all coming back to me now. It's all coming back to me now, where they say they're going to do something and then they don't do it, and you feel like, why did I believe them? Why did I believe them? I haven't felt this way in a long time.
Yeah.
You know, this is why I
Not
left.
since we dem exited.
This is why I dem exited, and that's the ultimate irony, is that in my exchange with Ro Khanna, I said, you know, when you guys promised over and over again to hold out for the Build Back Better, and then you didn't, that's when I was like, all right, you know, I can't do this anymore. And now here we are, back again. So that's it. All right, so I guess we're MAGA now. I guess we got to start networking.
Yeah,
with
that's
the
it.
MAGA people.
We should try to get on Bongino's show.
We should get on Bongino. You know, I'm thinking maybe I'll join ICE tomorrow.
Hey, big signing bonus.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take that 50 grand. Gonna join. It could be like, so what made you decide to join? Ro Khanna stood me up for an interview.
I mean, mostly I
That-
understand they hire self-hating Latinos.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's word on the street. So that's that. So yeah, that, like I said, is a perfect metaphor for, you know, why we don't fuck with the Democratic Party anymore. So we'll see. I mean, they said they'll reschedule. We're gonna have to just pre-record it. Like, if his schedule is that volatile, where 3 hours can just become unavailable at the drop of a hat, then yeah, we can't have him on live. That's just the way that goes. That's just
Yeah,
not
we're gonna have to
workable.
pre-schedule. I mean, listen, we're not gonna say who, but somebody else who interviewed him told us in advance that he rescheduled multiple times.
I mean,
before.
look, I get if you have votes that you have to take. Like, we don't want, we don't want gay marriage overturned because he skipped the vote to do our show. You know,
Right.
that would be bad.
Yeah.
The people would be very angry at us for that. So like, I mean, I get that things happen, but I mean,
especially MAGA.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I said, because he was supposed to come on at 1:30, and so people reached out and they said 1:30 is not going to work. Maybe we should reschedule. And I said, well, we're on for 3 hours, so if he has to vote, because they were estimating it would take him about a half hour, 40 minutes to vote. And so that's why he was going to come on at 1:30, not at the top of the show. So I said, okay, fine. So I figure, all right, well, if it takes 40 minutes to vote, can you come on at 2:30, 3, even 3? Like, we're on until basically 4. So, like, we're here. And then they said, yeah, that should work, but apparently now they've gone radio silent. So that's the deal with that. I had a feeling that would happen, honestly. I had one of those.
Yeah, but you always think that's going to happen.
I haven't felt that in a while. This is God's way of telling me not to get too sure of yourself. Yeah, I used to have anxiety about that, but not anymore. But with him,
well, not since you found Jesus.
Yeah, right. Yeah, not since I found Jesus. Exactly.
Now you know the Lord is with you.
All right. So don't send us any more super chats telling us what to ask him, because that's money down the drain. All right. So let's go back. All right. So
you're
we're doing
pissing your money away.
Exactly. Yeah, that's like donating to the Democratic Party. You may as well send it to the Democrats if you're going to super chat us about Ro Khanna. Yeah.
I mean, all the money I donated to Bernie Sanders, I would much rather Bernie Sanders had jumped me in an alley, hit me in the head with a brick, and taken that money out of my wallet.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, hey, we'll see if we can make it happen. But if his schedule, like I said, is that volatile, then we're gonna have to just pre-record it, because we can't plan a show where we don't know if they're gonna show up. So that's that. I mean, maybe we'll vote for them. Maybe we won't. That's what we should do. Maybe we should promise to vote for these people, and then just, oh, sorry, something came up.
Oops.
Gonna have to do it next time. We're gonna have to reschedule. Maybe, next time. All right, very well. All right, so we got, because now we're a little out of order here.
I mean, they may be voting on the shutdown.
Yeah, like I said, I don't expect them to skip a vote for us, obviously. I'm just saying, if the schedule is that open to change at a moment's notice, then we should probably just pre-record it.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Like, because what are we gonna do? Put it in the thumbnail again? Then,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Then we start looking like a couple of assholes, which, in fairness, we are.
That's kind of our job. It's kind of our profession. Professional assholes.
Exactly. All right. So I think we, for time reasons, ended up passing one of your pieces, right? We got the Epstein Barak, right?
Yes, we do.
All right. So let's do
All
that
right,
now.
so we'll pick
and then
up there.
you want to do that, and then I'll do Chomsky, and then you do Kennedy Center?
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Cool. There we go.
All right. And that's all your pieces, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Okey-doke. All right.
It's an easy day when half the show can't happen.
When half the show can't happen. I mean, this puts me in a funny position because my plan today was I was not actually going to go back to bed like I normally do when these shows are in the middle of the night. One of the big sights to see in Luang Prabang is the monks come out in the morning for alms. So basically they just walk down the street and people give them rice or whatever donations. And as you'd imagine, that takes place at like 5:30, 6 in the morning. So I was just going to go straight there, but the show ends early. Yeah.
Right.
I'm just going to have to hang around the streets of Luang Prabang until the monks come out. Okay. So a little more on the Epstein Israel Mossad front. Ryan Grimm broke this. As Ehud Barak was leaving official government service in Israel, he turned to Jeffrey Epstein for guidance. Epstein told him he needed to look at a Peter Thiel company called Palantir. Rare audio of Epstein and Barak from the latest DOJ release.
Cyber companies look out, and even though I know Peter, I've never met Peter Thiel, and everybody says he sort of jumps around and acts sort of strange, like he's on drugs.
Smoking, yeah. He looks the under drugs.
However, he has a company called Palantir. Pallen Tier. Palantir is Peter Thiel's company, and look out.
Palantir, Palantir?
Yes.
How you write Thiel? Thiel?
Thiel.
You are ruled by illiterate pedophiles.
Thiell.
I mean, really, this is Christopher Guest doing a deep state mockumentary, right? How do you spell it? Palantir? Palantir? How do you spell it? PDF file? What is this? A PDF file? What is this?
While we're paused, sorry, it is. I'm sorry. It's a big problem that they sound this Jewy. It really is.
Yeah,
it's a big
really
problem for the Jews. Like, I mean, Jonathan Greenblatt's got to get on this. You talk about purveying anti-Semitism. I mean, they sound entirely too nebbishy for this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey Epstein and Ehud Barak. We're going to be investing in Palantir. You should look at Palantir. Maybe we should think about getting involved with them. That's a good up and coming company. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about Palantir over dinner. First, let's rape a child and kill her, and then we'll eat. And then we'll invite Woody over for a cherry pie. He'll put a cherry pie in the oven. We'll clean up the body. By the time we're done cleaning the body, we'll eat the cherry pie. We'll talk more about Palantir. Yeah. No, this is great. This is great for the Jewish people. This makes me feel unsafe as a Jew.
Yeah,
the fact that they sound this fucking Jewy talking about this shit. Yeah.
Jeffrey, I have 3 children in the basement. What do you think? Well, I could eat.
I could eat.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
I always call Woody when I have a body. He likes to jerk off on the body. And then we give the body to his driver. They take it out to Jersey. They bury it. Then we put on a movie. And then, they come back. They pick him up. We have the whole evening planned.
You know what? Nobody disposes of a body like Sun Yi.
Yeah.
Sun Yi, she is a magician with a set of Ginsu knives. I've never seen anything like it. Yeah. She's amazing. That's why he married her. So she disposed of a body for him. He said, "You're the girl for me."
So he thought that Peter would put you on the board of Palantir. Peter Thiel is one of the best. I've never met him. He's going to come here next week. So I wanted to talk to him after I talked to you.
Okay.
He says he's the Antichrist or something. I don't care. He's got a lot of money.
Hey, we're all the Antichrist.
We're all
He
the
and
I joked with him. I said, "That's my job. That job is already filled. I'm the Antichrist." Whoa. These are the jokes people try to fish.
Andreessen. It's called Andreessen Horowitz. That's what
that is great.
Friend Humpty Dumpty
keeps getting
friend
better.
Humpty Dumpty. All these people appear in this tape. Isn't that funny, man? It's like that. There's like Joe Rogan's whole guest lineup from 2024 is mentioned in this tape.
More Jews too. More Jews. A Horowitz. I mean, surely there's got to be an O'Reilly in here somewhere, right? I mean, give us a break. Give us something.
Come on. Give us a Shaughnessy.
You give us a Shaughnessy.
Give us a martini.
$1 million a year. Just to advise them.
Andreas and
Andreessen, Andreessen, and Horowitz.
And Howard.
Horo, Horowitz.
You don't know how to spell Horowitz? What kind of Jew are you? You don't know how to spell Horowitz?
What they are? It's a lobbyist. What they are?
They are the biggest venture capital people in Silicon Valley.
You're gonna love this part. They rob old ladies of their life savings. It's really funny. It's really funny the way they wind up out on the street with the whole cardboard signs by the highway. That's hilarious. Sometimes I drive through neighborhoods where Andreessen has bankrupted people just to cheer myself up when I'm feeling low.
To change a pace, I usually ruin the lives of young girls. Here, we're ruining the lives of old ladies. The victims are a little old for my taste. It's not my specialty.
Yeah,
I'm branching out.
That's his area. That's more his territory.
Yeah.
What, bigger than Sequoia or Kleiner Perkins?
These are the new Kleiner Perkins. Everybody, these are the smart boys.
Yeah.
So those two companies right away, in terms of, I said that we need now, in the next 3 weeks, if you're going to leave.
You need to call Terry McShane. He'll hook you up. No Terry McShane, no luck.
No.
Somebody hoping to be some other person there that's not a Horowitz or a Barak or an Epstein or yeah, that is brutal. That is really brutal. I'm surprised the
call
ADL
my friend
hasn't
Bruno Lampini.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really surprised the ADL hasn't censored that clip. I mean, aren't they supposed to be on this? Like, what the fuck are they doing? What are they doing? How is this allowed on the internet? You don't know what harm that's doing to the Jewish people, the fact that that's on the internet?
They're very proud. Look how successful he was.
Yeah, he's a good
Look
boy.
how successful all these Jewish people are.
He only had a bachelor's degree and he came all this way.
Look at it. Look at that. That's a Jewish boy made good. He knows all these very powerful people, and they're Jewish too.
They're Jewish. They helped him. They helped him out.
They helped him. That's what's special about our community. We help each other. We help each other out. Oh, so you're a PDF file? So am I.
So am I.
So am I. You want to go out for some locks?
I mean, that is brutal. That is absolutely brutal.
Okay, and some people take exception to it. I hear some of them even go cry like little girls to our friend Jimmy about the way we treat poor Joe Rogan. Do you see why now? I felt that if you're gonna put these people on your show, you should be asking them some real questions, because otherwise they're just using your platform to cover up for their criminal activities. These people are fucking criminals, man. They're criminals. And if you have them on and you don't ask them those questions, you're in fact validating them for your audience. That's the reality. And if you're too dumb to realize that, then maybe you shouldn't be in that position. But I don't think Joe is too dumb to realize that. These people either have him in a position where he knows if he messes with them, they're going to come at him. And during COVID, he got a taste of the libs coming at him. So he knows he's not going to get any protection from that quarter. So he went to this wing of the oligarchy for protection. But in exchange, he has to just, suck Elon's dick every time he has him on and take a criminal like Humpty Dumpty Mark Andreessen, who, it doesn't surprise me at all, makes an appearance here, and let him just run his mouth about how, the kind of banking regulations that would stop him from robbing old ladies are woke without that. Well, what about your company Synapse? I understand a lot of old ladies lost their retirement savings and you refuse to make them whole. It's not a hard bit of research to do. I can do it. I don't have millions of dollars to hire research assistants.
Rogan, that's a name that they could have mentioned. We couldn't get a Rogan in there.
Rogan.
We could have.
Who is this Joe Rogan?
Yeah,
he does a TV show where people eat the bull testicles.
Yeah, no, nothing.
Yeah, wait, he's part of our plan. He's part of our plan. We're gonna promote him as like this fake everyman, and then we're gonna use that in order to take our friends and make them look like they're one of the people, even while they rob the people. It's gonna be amazing. It's a long-term plan, but I think it's gonna work. So from Gigi, by far the most important Epstein disclosure. Palantir was connected to Epstein and Mossad. Palantir holds many top secret U.S. military government contracts. Peter Thiel planned to put Ehud Barak on the board at Palantir while holding top secret U.S. military contracts. Yeah, it's a pretty important disclosure. Amber Woods. Virginia Giuffre told at least 2 journalists that Ehud Barak raped and brutalized her to the point she thought she would not survive. She said Epstein sent her to Barak again after the first violent rape and attack, despite her sobbing and begging him not to, because she was afraid Barak would kill her the next time.
Gee, way to bring the mood down. Way to take all the comedy out of Ehud Barak and Jeffrey Epstein.
Kind of killed the bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we call in the business a block.
A block, yes.
Yeah.
So Ryan Grimm here. Elsewhere in this conversation, Ehud Barak and Epstein talk about Barak forming a partnership with former CIA Director Leon Panetta, top CIA official Jeremy Bash, ex-husband of Dana Bash, and Israeli intel official Yoni Koren, whom we reported stayed at Epstein's New York place multiple times. Barak says he has the best relationship with Panetta when it comes to the U.S. security state, but adds, I know Gates for a longer time, but he's a kind of cold fish. We're friendly. Context is that Robert Gates and Barak were both central players in Iran-Contra, shipping weapons to Iran through Israel, but they were also rivals and even targeted each other's assets around the world. Epstein was also involved with key Iran-Contra figures, and in this convo, he immediately changes the subject to Iran. Like Oliver North and the whole Iran-Contra thing. It was a very early indication of like the discourse as it exists today, because what Reagan did made Watergate look like a parking ticket. But by the time that happened with Reagan, you already had a breakdown in our political life such that there was not the will to impeach him. He was also, of course, far more popular than Nixon. So there was that. But what you saw that very much kind of is a prelude or a foreshadowing of the world we live in today was the way Oliver North, this criminal who facilitated this process, became a folk hero. Right? He goes up there. Well, Mr. Congressman, what have you been doing behind the scenes? And, he's treated like this Jimmy Stewart Mr. Smith goes to Washington guy. He's a fucking criminal. He's a criminal, man. He's smuggling arms to the Contras, to this right wing army. Yeah, man. Reagan should have been in prison. So should Bush have. Reagan didn't engineer all that. He didn't have the skills set to do that. There was former CIA director as VP who organized all that. And Ryan Grimm here from the Epstein files, it appears to be this dinner with Barak and Larry Summers. So this is what they talk about later in the tape, and it's in his schedule here that they did indeed get together. So this is kind of interesting.
Summers, another one.
Yeah, all of them, man. They don't let any non-Jews in this club.
Yeah, no, I mean,
so Ben Smith here, does this confirm your Israeli agent versus hustler, fixer, con man view? It's all fascinating, but this doesn't strike me as all that focused. So Grimm, this is kind of interesting, given the recent debate we had with Michael Tracy and some of the conversation around this. Grimm's answer here is pretty interesting. I don't think there is evidence to say he is an Israeli agent, nor do I really think that makes sense. The evidence suggests he was an asset of Israeli intelligence, among others, and like most such assets operating in gray zones, he was a hustler too. Not many Boy Scouts in the arms and diamond industries. The way that the two roles are presented as versus each other, like in that big New York Times story, is extremely misleading and obscures how that world works. Okay, so I mean, that's interesting on a couple levels. One, it seems like a lot of the accusation from Tracy and Taibbi is that reporters are getting out over their skis. I specifically, when we interviewed Tracy, mentioned the drop site is doing a lot of well-sourced, documented reporting on ties between Epstein and Israel and the Mossad, and he kind of dismissed that. That doesn't sound like a guy who's not sticking to journalistic principles of not stating as a fact what he can't prove, right? Ryan's very cautious there, not to say. In fact, he says, I don't think he was. I think he was an asset. Now, I think he might have a point. In some ways, it's a distinction without a difference, right? But, you know, you're really asking, was he officially Mossad? I think Ryan's right. You know, probably not, but he worked for them, like being a mob associate. Like, you're not in the mob. Henry Hill was never in the mob.
He was there, Henry Hill.
Right? Yeah. But he was an associate, right? Yeah. He worked, for all effects and purposes, he was in the mafia, right?
Hesh. He's like Hesh in The Sopranos.
He's like Hesh, right? And here, this is interesting, and it kind of goes to Ryan's point. This is between Epstein and Barak. Hi, Jeff. Are you going to be in London on Thursday? Best, EB. Unfortunately not. You should make clear that I don't work for Mossad. You or I, that I don't. Right. So for whatever reason, he felt a need to assert that. We don't know what the context was. But it does kind of go to the point that, you know, maybe Epstein didn't see himself that way, or he saw himself as a fixer, but not actually in the organization. And again, I mean, for all effects and purposes, it's a distinction without a difference. He's working for the Israelis, whether he's officially Mossad or not. It's a little beside the point. But, you know, I mean, it does demonstrate it's not all the reporters who are reporting on this are running around crazy, wild, just shooting their mouths off. He didn't do that. He had the opportunity with that question, and he was very cautious. Priya Shankar. Now, there's another aspect of this in terms of who Jeffrey worked for. This is going to do nothing to help the Jewish people. This second part of this segment, the guy who couldn't spell Palantir was paid $25 million for risk analysis by the Rothschild Group.
Oy vey.
Yeah,
As
that
they
came,
say,
that,
as
that,
we
that,
say.
that came out. Oy vey, that came out in the files too. Arian de Rothschild. He has a lot of correspondence with him in the files. The chief executive of
Kind of an
the
oxymoronic name, Aryan Rothschild.
Arian de Rothschild. The chief executive of the Swiss private bank, Edmund de Rothschild Group, had more than a dozen scheduled meetings with Epstein between 2013 and 2019. These meetings involved extensive financial and professional entanglements, including negotiating a $25 million contract for Epstein's firm to provide risk analysis and other services to the bank. The bank initially denied these meetings and business links, but later acknowledged they were part of her normal duties. Red Pill USA. Epstein in an email to Peter Thiel. As you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds. Yeah, the Rothschilds, the same banking family that basically engineered modern Israel via the Balfour Declaration. Now, I didn't want to drag out the segment, but that is not a conspiracy theory. If you go online, you can very easily find this was on the BBC. A member of the Rothschild family did an interview with the BBC, proudly talking about how his family got the Balfour Declaration and essentially created Israel. This is not conspiracy theory. It's something the Rothschilds themselves are very proud of. The very same Rothschilds whose creepy mansion showed up in Eyes Wide Shut during that elite occult ritual scene. The rabbit hole is deep. Now, that part I don't know about. That I've got to look up if they actually used a Rothschild's mansion to shoot that. So this is the email. So this is Epstein. As you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds. I was hoping to figure out a way for the bank that has 160 billion in management can do something in tech. Best client list in the world, prehistoric products. It can wait. Good luck in China, and so on. So yes, I represent the Rothschilds. Straight from the pedo's mouth.
Should we make a reservation at 2nd Avenue Deli when you get back?
That the pastrami is to die for. Jay Dyer. Whitney Webb book vindicated. Epstein brags he represents Rothschilds. You know, man, I seem to remember there was a big sausage fest of rival conspiracy theorists attacking Whitney a few months back. Are they all going to apologize now? Probably not. Byzantine General. I'm surprised that I haven't seen more people talk about this. There are more than 12,000 hits in the Epstein files for Rothschild. Epstein knew them intimately. Yes, full Epstein library, 12,073 results for the Rothschilds. Joseph Lundeberg. This is interesting. All wars are bankers' wars. Epstein discussing with the Rothschilds how lucrative Ukraine will be for them. Now, you know, there's some decent evidence that the Rothschilds, along with other bankers, instigated World War I, that it was not really the Archduke Ferdinand assassination. It was the bankers that actually wanted World War I. So in that context, this is particularly interesting.
Why isn't the Archduke Ferdinand in the Epstein files? That would be something.
That would be something. He never died.
Yeah.
They saved the Archduke Ferdinand's brain. Ukraine upheaval should provide many opportunities. Many. That's Jeffrey Epstein. And from Ariane de Rothschild. Hi, Jeff. Very long day sitting on bank board. Oh, times is hard. Times is hard. NBers are okay, but not satisfactory to me. And I'm putting them under pressure to be more innovative about asset management funds while restructuring. I'm in a dinner with a client, fed up. I miss our talks and hope you're well. We'll be at home tomorrow night. Will you be free? And let's discuss Ukraine. Right? We saw this with who was it? Bill Gates, who was talking about the opportunities in Ukraine. Was that Bill Gates?
Well, yeah. Well, when was I mean, I should know this, but I don't. When in 2014 did the color revolution happen? What month? Because that was March, right?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
I don't
Let me
know.
Google
Oh
it.
yeah, they're talking about the Maidan
Yeah,
revolution.
the Maidan. Yeah.
Yeah. They're not talking about currently.
No, he was.
He was.
Yeah.
He wasn't around at that point. Yeah, they're talking about the Maidan revolution. And of course, there's the tape of.
Okay, so February 2014. Okay, so that was right around when all that was happening. Yeah,
Right.
so it was
And
early
of course,
in that
there's
year,
the
yeah.
tape of Victoria Nuland making it quite
Yeah,
clear that the U.S. is behind it.
Yep.
And hey, here is Epstein associate, alleged PDF file, who shortly after meeting Epstein wrote an op-ed arguing that the age of consent should be lowered to 14. It's a very weird thing to decide you want to publish an op-ed about. Here he is talking about who introduced him to Epstein.
Categorically nothing wrong, and that's what lawyers do, and that's what people do. I was introduced to him by the lady in Lord Rothschild.
Wow.
And I was told,
really?
yeah, and he knew all the most prominent people.
Well, there you go. There you go. So whether or not Epstein was officially Mossad, it makes sense that he wasn't, right? But he worked for them, right? He was like their Ray Donovan.
Hey, he's a friend of ours.
It was Mossad's Ray. He was a friend of ours. He was a friend of the family.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, he was in with all of these central power brokers in the Zionist world. He worked for the Zionist power structure that, hey, man, it's not a conspiracy theory. It is funded in part by the Rothschilds, and the Rothschilds are very tied up with all of that. Like, if you look at all of the evidence, the idea that Epstein was not working for the Israeli state through various entities, including the Rothschilds, and that he wasn't accumulating blackmail material on people that's now being used. You give me another explanation for Trump's subservience to Israel. You give me another explanation for Elon Musk, who appears in these files quite a bit. You explain to me why he put on the kippah and went to Auschwitz once he got pressure. The Elon who went on a stage and told Bob Iger to go fuck himself in the middle of an advertiser exodus, why he gave in, not only gave in, but did the humiliation tour with the kip on. You give me another explanation other than that he did shit on that island and they got the tapes, and anytime Elon decides to show a little independence, they remind him of what's going to come out if he doesn't do what they tell him to do.
I mean, it's all just the tip of the iceberg, you know. I mean, it's tough to say. I mean, all you could do is speculate. But look, I mean, no, obviously there was a blackmail operation. I mean, that seems completely obvious, and it seems, you know, it seems impossible to believe. I mean, look, the question, if you just strip everything down and take a step back, you have to ask yourself, why Epstein? What was remarkable about this man that put him in the middle of all this? It's almost cartoonish. It's almost like a Zelig kind of situation.
Yeah, right.
Like, why?
Like, he's obviously a kind of dumb guy.
Some fucking more. I mean, this is what Tucker said. Speaking, you know, at the beginning of this segment, he doesn't even know how to spell Palantir. I mean, he can barely read, and that's what Tucker said. Tucker said he was kind of an illiterate simpleton based on everything that we're seeing here, which is of course the perfect kind of guy you would rope into this, right? You know, these mob guys are not the smartest guys in the world.
Well, you want to go.
There's a running theme on The Sopranos about how stupid they were, how they would misuse words all the time. You know, Quasimodo predicted this.
Yeah. Probably my favorite Sopranos line of all time is when they're in Italy and Paulie's asking for noodles with gravy.
Yeah, gravy.
And they say to each other in Italian, "These classless pieces of shit are even worse than the Germans."
yeah.
Yeah, man. It's the banality of evil, and very much like I keep saying, the people surrounding Trump are really crackpots and weirdos who could never get jobs like this, except from a president like that. It's the same thing, man. Like, you got to get somebody to do the things that Jeffrey Epstein did for them. You need somebody who could never get in that position any other way. You get a guy like that and you give him a lot of money, he'll do anything to stay in that position.
Yes, absolutely. All right, you want to read some super chats?
Sure.
All right.
All right. Brad Gilbert, problem, convid, solution, digital ID, problem, election fraud, solution, digital ID, problem, protesters getting shit by ICE, solution, digital ID. They say it's coming, man. They do say it's coming. Rock McDonald, Bongino and Tracy should team up with Taibbi and that old guy. True indie media, baby. $7,000 a pod. We're back.
We're back.
Yeah, we're so back. JD Duncan 3 Golf. Did you see letter from Jeffrey Epstein to Wexner gang stuff? I didn't see that.
No, people are going through like on their own. They're like doing their own journalism now. They're scouring and doing all that, because there's millions of them. Like, it's not like generally when you see like a certain leak, it's kind of evident what the one thing in the leak is that comes out. It kind of gets reported and then that's it. No, this is like, it's a story that keeps on going because there's literally millions of things to look through. Most of it is probably pretty uneventful, because when you investigate, you gather everything.
Or unproven. A lot of it's unsubstantiated, but there's a lot of there too. Jim Talib, super sticker. Thank you, Jim. Richard Pemberton, Russ's Carter impression. We had mock elections in 3rd grade, 68, and I played the part of Nixon. That's funny. Andy Gardner, you never got Roe, did you? Be honest, you just wanted to get his 10 super fans as DD subs, didn't you?
Yeah,
that's it. We bait and switched you.
Yeah.
Israel should not exist, says you. Andy Gardner. The quote, the best part, they rob old ladies of their savings. It's hilarious. You got to laugh when these people are mustache twirlingly devilish. Yeah, man. And you really shouldn't give them the opportunity to scrub their reputation on your show when you're the world's most popular podcast. Charles, hey, St. Louis guy here. Thanks for nonstop trashing my pizza since you visited. At least we don't eat plain cheese pizza like 5-year-olds. Here's $10. Buy some toppings with it, please. Well, Charles, man, I don't know if you're following my Russ on the Road channel. And honestly, it'll be quite a few videos down the road before I get to this. But you will be happy to know I ordered the mushroom and ham on my louse pizza here, which I don't normally do. I normally do, as you say, plain.
Well, yeah, plain is the best way to evaluate it. But I will have you know, Charles, we actually did. What's the name of that place in St. Louis? What's the chain that is supposed to be?
I forget now.
I forget the name of it now. But anyway, we did get a topping on one of them, and I actually did say I like the topping better because it makes whatever that
hid
cheese
the taste of the fake cheese.
Yeah, the Provel. It makes the Provel less prominent. So I did like the topping one better. Yeah, then the
topping one was better because it covered the taste of the pizza.
Yeah. You know, it would have been better if you piss on the plain pizza. The flavor of the piss would have been good to sort of dilute the impact.
It would have diluted the impact of the problem, which is like rancid Velveeta.
Exactly.
Yeah. Look, man. Look, I don't go to places that don't make a claim to have pizza and try the pizza to trust the pizza. I would never go to Arkansas and be like, oh, this pizza's bad. They don't claim to make pizza. The only reason I haven't had pizza the whole time I was here, and there's a lot of places with pizza, actually. I haven't because I mean Thailand's not like, yeah, we have our special version of Thai pizza, so why would you bother? This place I went to because it was recommended, it's only open 6 hours a week. It only opens Tuesday 6 to 9 and Friday 6 to 9. So I was like, well, they got it going on like that, man. The pizza's got to be pretty good. It's wood-fired oven, stone oven. And yeah, it was good. It was good. So that was worth trying because it's a little, they're really putting in the extra mile there on that pizza. And it was quite good. Like, it's not just like, let's go every place and trash their pizza. If it's good, it's good. That was really good pizza. Honestly, it was the best pizza probably I've had outside of New York City.
There you go. All right, let's do some Rumble rants over here. First of all, before I do the Rumble rants, I will put our supporter scroll up on the screen. So, folks, if you like what we do here and you want to help us do more of it, best way to do so is to become a member. DoDissidents.com/Patreon//Substack or /locals. You get bonus content, monthly post game and Q&As. You also get call-in access to our post-show Q&As every Sunday night over on Rumble. You also get an ad-free replay of every live stream posted the day after it airs. So that's DoDissidents.com/Patreon//Substack or /locals. Membership starts at just $5 a month. You are the backbone of the show. We thank you all very, very much for your support, of course. Vienticus Prime says you don't need to hide in the shadows when you can blind with a light. I put all sorts of irrelevant things in my search and browsing history to throw off the algorithm. Kemen G says, speaking of canceling people, please never cancel Taibbi and Kern. I'm still laughing at your impersonation. Last night I listened to their show to laugh myself to sleep. You guys nailed it. Did you? Are you the one who tweeted us the clip? Somebody tweeted us a clip. Tweeted it to Russell, and then he texted it to me. Yeah, someone clipped it.
Pretty funny, man. Like, oh God, who watches that? Who watches it? I mean, their numbers are terrible. They're very weak.
Ratings are terrible.
They're failing America this week.
It's funny stuff.
That's what they call their show, right? America This Week.
America This Week. Yeah, America This Week. You would think they would cover, the important news of the week with a title like America This Week. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of like in the title.
In the title. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I haven't been this disappointed since the day my dad said he was going out to get some cigarettes and never came back. Thank you, EO Shush. Breaking: Jill Biden's ex-husband is charged with killing his current wife. The crazy keeps going. Is that true? Is that true?
It seems true. It's a little too random to be.
That is random to make up, but Albu Kid. Oh no, Albu Kid is not the out there. It's Abiding. I'm sorry, I confused you guys. Abiding is the one who always makes up the corn pop references. So I thought, he has a flair for the random, but that wasn't Abiding. That was Albu Kid. Wow, that is big news. Let's see. Hopefully, Rose No-Show resurrected Keaton's black psychic aura of pessimism, which used to hang over the broadcast. Bring back the doom and gloom. Bring back Dark Keaton. Who was the one person who I said
did Dark Keaton go away?
Did I go away?
Went away? I don't think so.
There was one interview. This was before. The Brianna Joy Gray show, but this was back when at the time this had never happened to us before, and I used to always say
that was the vote, man. House votes to end partial government shutdown, setting up contentious talks on ICE. That was the vote he had to be in for.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe he can come back. Maybe he can make it now that
I mean that's pretty legit.
All right, you cast your little vote.
You cast your little vote to open the government.
Yeah, good for you. You cast your vote. But he probably voted against it, right? The Republicans probably pushed it through, right? Well, but I don't even know what's going on.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what they, negotiated. Oh yeah, so he must have voted against it because it's 217 to 214.
Yeah. All right. Well,
so the Democrats basically all voted against it.
I guess he had to be there. I guess, he probably had to be there
He had to cast a vote on
he
that.
had to cast a vote because there was a possibility that Lauren Boebert was doing the Benny Johnson podcast and she would miss the vote. So then if she missed it and he showed up, then maybe they could have stopped the funding bill. See, we could have made history, if he skipped our show to cast the deciding vote, then we'd have been a part of history.
Yeah.
We'd have really
we
shaped.
We would have
world
been
we
the
live in.
footnote we have always aspired to be.
Exactly. Yeah, we would have been the asterisk in the history books that we've always aspired to be. That's right. No, but I used to always say that. I used to always assume the guest wasn't going to show up. Russ and I, we show up a half hour before.
Always.
Yeah. Russ will be like, all right, so let's game this out. So I'll go first. I'll ask this question. I'll be like, they're not going to show up.
Yeah, always. It's
they're
true.
not going to go. This isn't going to happen. There's no point. Every single time, we would go to prepare, and I'll be like, "This isn't happening. I have a very bad feeling. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen." Yeah.
Yes, literally, like every interview.
Yeah,
literally.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, that's why I'll never cancel Seinfeld, because like Larry David, that was his whole thing. He would threaten to quit the show every week. Be like, I can't. This is too much. I can't do this. That's it. Yeah. All right. What else we got here? It seems the world has learned a new word, goyim. Give us plebes the lowdown from the chosen perspective. Short, separate segment. The world needs you. I mean, we always referred to it.
I saw that angle on the Epstein files. I mean, yeah.
I don't know. I grew up. See, my family, we were such self-hating, sarcastic. See, we weren't self-hating Jews. We were self-hating people who happened to be Jews, right? We didn't hate ourselves because we were Jewish. We hate ourselves, and we just by chance are Jewish.
Yeah.
So we were always very sarcastic.
Not related.
Yeah, exactly. We were very, very sarcastic, very gallows humor, right? And so the words goyim and schmuck are words that we used to like use, but we didn't use them with any like venom. We just like a schmuck was not like a bad person when growing up.
Right.
Now you call someone a schmuck, they get very offended. Hey, what you schmuck was like a putz, like the guy, a putz, he can't get out of his own way. What a schmuck.
I mean, I think schmuck is still okay.
It's kind of a term of endearment, schmuck. The way we always used it. Goyim was kind of the same thing, but yeah, I mean, goyim is a little bit. That is a bit saltier.
I mean, look, goyim until more recently, like they kicked me. They basically kicked me out of the tribe when I was 9. So there were nuances to all that I didn't really get. Like, yeah, you're seeing stuff in the Epstein files, but I mean, I already at this point knew and stopped using it. Like I used to say goyim in like a humorous.
Right, that's the way I always used it. Yeah.
That's how I took it, like a shiksa,
right?
Non-Jewish woman. I took it more like that. I didn't realize how dark the way that like Zionists and Israelis use it is. I didn't realize how N-word for non-Jews it is.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it does function more that way. I mean, look, my grandfather. I've told this story before. Like. In terms of like the Jewish supremacy, like my cousin worked in a bar and he broke up a fight and he got his hand cut with a beer bottle. He had to get 20 stitches. And my grandfather said to him, why did you get involved? A Jewish boy does not do these things. This is the goyim. Let them kill each other. You stay out of it. Yeah. Like, is that very much a part of that culture? Yeah, it is. It's the dirty secret that they don't want you to know because it gets in the way of the victim narrative.
Exactly. And like for decades of my life, I didn't know that. I would always just use it as a joke because my father's not a serious Jew. They were never practicing, so it was always just, it was a joke. We didn't really realize that it had that kind of connotation. In fact, my father, when he, because as people know, my dad, goes to these events and he makes buttons and he kind of puts them on umbrellas and hands them out as part of his, activism. So during the Bernie campaigns, he made a button called Goyim for Bernie that people liked. Like, people liked it because back then this issue was not as...
It was different.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was different. Yeah, the whole attitude was different. All right, what do we got here? No one sounds stereotypically 1930s German as the Israeli Hebrews. Yeah, exactly. Virtuoso said there's actually more to this clip. Ehud Barak asked Epstein what's the password to his bathroom, and Jeffrey says 1877 cash for kids. Thank you, Virtuoso. Appreciate that.
That's a good one.
Bonzo Beans, for a good meta-level analysis and easy-to-understand explanation of end-stage capitalism, domestic imperialism, have on Jody Brar. Thank you, Bonzo Beans. Vienticus says, I just want to say it again, Rothschild's Amalek Nation of Israel, TM. Thank you, Vienticus Prime. Appreciate that very much. All right, let me just get my stuff a little straightened out here. Beautiful. Okay, let's make this happen over here. All right, we got one more for me and then one more for you. Right, all right, folks. So another person who's having a rough time with these Epstein files drops is Noam Chomsky. So Alan McLeod did his own sort of deep dive into this. Like I said, independent journalists and really anybody who wants to be an independent journalist now is a good opportunity, actually, for like aspiring journalists. You just go through the Epstein files, right, and find stuff and publish it and comment. You know, it's a good exercise for aspiring journalists now. But Alan McLeod is, of course, an established journalist, and so he's going through and finding stuff. And he put together this thread on Noam Chomsky. New Epstein emails reveal that Noam Chomsky stayed at Jeffrey Epstein's notorious Manhattan mansion, where many of Epstein's worst crimes took place. Chomsky describes it as a lovely apartment and asked to stay there again soon. Here's the email. Incidentally, I remember that you once said that if we spent a couple of days in New York, I won't read the whole thing, that way we'll be here for hours, we might arrange to stay at that lovely apartment where you once put us up. Is that possible? If not, no problem at all. We have several hotels we've stayed in over the years. Yeah, you're Noam Chomsky. You can afford a hotel. Like, you don't need to stay in Jeffrey Epstein's apartment. But he liked it. He obviously liked being close. This is dated 2016. To which Jeffrey Epstein replies, done. Again with the Jew shit. I'll put some nosh in the fridge for you both. It just keeps getting worse and worse. I'll put some nosh in the fridge for you both. Done. There's a pizza chained to the radiator in the basement if you want. I chained a pizza pie to the radiator. You can go down there and enjoy it. Wow.
This, I mean, really, I'm joking, but I'm not joking. Like, one of the worst things about the last 2.5 years or so is it really destroyed Jewish culture. Like, it really did. Like, you can't, you know what I mean? Like, this stuff was all like benign and funny. And now a lot of what was benign and funny, it plays as sinister.
Yeah. Yeah. Nosh.
Nosh.
I'll leave out some,
like, you know, like,
I'll leave out some
it's
nosh.
ruined it.
Yeah, really ruined it. New Epstein email I found shows renowned academic Noam Chomsky telling Epstein that he is fantasizing about Little St. James Island. I'm digging through Epstein files for Chomsky's connection to the disgraced PDF file. Check my timeline and follow for more drops. Really fantasizing about the Caribbean island. Have to figure out a way to work clear of endless commitments. Oy vey. Noam Chomsky participates in Jeffrey Epstein's birthday, even contributing a note for a birthday booklet, which sounds very similar to the infamous 2003 one Trump wrote a poem for. Hi, Valeria. Just wanted to thank you so very much for helping me make Jeffrey's birthday booklet even more special. He was thrilled and touched by it. Please do pass it along to Noam. Very much appreciate you taking the time to participate. I'm very enthusiastic about these meetings with convicted sex trafficker Noam Chomsky's wife says about the pair meeting up in Boston. Valeria is his wife. We definitely have to arrange that. I am very enthusiastic about these meetings. I'll let you know. Tremendous. I'll get back to you once things firm up. Another email in which Noam Chomsky professes his eagerness to visit Jeffrey Epstein's Grape Island, still eager to make it to the Caribbean, but looks as though we'll have to wait. Brexit, Trump, Syria, Ukraine, all tribal. After reading emails between the pair for hours, what I'm overwhelmingly seeing is a deep, years-long friendship between Noam Chomsky and Jeffrey Epstein. They would talk money, politics, medical problems, legal troubles, holidays, etc. They were such good friends that Noam's wife knew what Epstein's favorite dessert was and prepared it for him when Epstein was scheduled to visit their home. Knowing something of Noam's social life, I'd go so far as to say that Epstein was quite possibly his closest friend. They sound pretty close, closer than they let on. But this was the big one. This was the really big one because this goes beyond just personal friendship. So Jackson Hinkle tweets, breaking, Noam Chomsky was giving Epstein advice on how to outlast the allegations against him. So this one dated February 23rd of 2019. I've watched the horrible way. So this is sent. Well, this was sent by Matthew Hitzik, but this is from Noam. There signs it. So I guess this was passed to him through Noam Chomsky. I've watched the horrible way you are being treated in the press and public. It's painful to say, but I think the best way to proceed is to ignore it. I've had plenty of experience, though, of course, not on this scale. A Google search will bring up tons of hysterical accusations of all sorts, even groups devoted to vilifying me. I pay no attention unless I'm approached for comment on a specific matter. It's a nuisance, but it's the best way. The same conclusions from experiences of others, in some cases close friends. What the vultures dearly want is a public response, which then provides a public opening for an onslaught of venomous attacks, many from just publicity seekers or cranks of all sorts, which are impossible to answer. Quote, how do you prove you are not a neo-Nazi who wants to kill the Jews or a rapist or whatever charge comes along? That's particularly true now with the hysteria that has developed about the abuse of women, which has reached the point of even questioning a charge is a crime worse than murder. For virtually everyone who sees any of this, the reaction will be, where there's smoke, there's fire, maybe raging fire, whatever the facts, which few will even think of investigating. In general, it's best not to react unless directly questioned, particularly in the current mood, which I presume will fade away, even if not in time to prevent much torture and distress. Hard to say, but it's the best advice I could think of. Noam. Ouch. Ouch.
Wow.
That's pretty bad. That is pretty bad stuff. Chomsky has spent his entire career criticizing manufactured consent and corporate corruption, yet here he is in the files helping the ultimate predator manufacture his own comeback. It's not just a bad look, it's a total betrayal of everything he claims to stand for. Now, Chomsky, as far as I could tell anyway, never like outright lied about his relationship with Epstein. He certainly downplayed it, and his response to inquiries was always more of a none of your business, go fuck yourself, right? He didn't say like, like with Trump, I barely knew him. I had nothing to do with him. You're right.
So you wanted to have dinner with fascinating people.
An artist.
Right.
Yeah. That's what we get into in here. So this is from 2023. Jeffrey Epstein scheduled meetings with Noam Chomsky, CIA director, and others. So the Wall Street Journal did a big report on Epstein, which is where these revelations about Chomsky first surfaced. And so here in this article, which we'll read some of, we get a few of his responses to what at that time was not entirely speculation. There was some evidence of his relationship with Epstein, but obviously over the weekend, we got a lot more. So Chomsky, an American linguist and political activist, met with Epstein on a number of occasions throughout 2015 and 2016. He told the Wall Street Journal he and Epstein met to discuss politics and academia. One such meeting was allegedly with Chomsky, Epstein, and former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak. As part of another meeting, Epstein scheduled a flight for Chomsky, 94, at the time was 94, meaning at the time that this article was printed, to have dinner with director Woody Allen and his wife, Sunyi Previn. Chomsky's answer to a Wall Street Journal inquiry about whether or not he met with Epstein was simple. He wrote, First response is that it is none of your business or anyone's. Second is that I knew him and we met occasionally. So there, like not lying, but certainly miscategorizing and downplaying, right? In response to meeting specifically with Epstein and Allen, Chomsky told the Wall Street Journal, this is the quote, Russ, you were just remembering. I'm unaware of the principle that requires that I inform you about an evening spent with a great artist. Yeah. So this was his attitude about this. Chomsky added that what was known about Jeffrey Epstein was that he had been convicted of a crime and had served his sentence. According to U.S. laws and norms, that yields a clean slate. So this is exactly what I've been talking about this whole time. And I brought this up to Michael Tracy. There's no evidence whatsoever that Noam Chomsky did anything to any girls, right? But when you have people in positions of influence taking that attitude, well, hey, yeah, he was busted soliciting prostitution from a minor, which, as Russ has mentioned several times, according to federal law, that is by definition human trafficking, right? If your attitude is, well, yeah, he did it and he did his time meaning what? Struck a deal that was, extremely lenient, we can litigate that some other time, we have in the past. But the idea that, well, yeah, he was busted doing that, and he paid society back in the form of some time and some service, and now that means it's okay. If that just washes everything away, that is a reflection of your character. The fact that you have that attitude about Jeffrey Epstein, and so the fact that Chomsky is sort of that cavalier about, well, yeah, he purveyed underage girls for sex, but he was busted and he did his thing and that's it. Now we move on. Yeah, that's a reflection of your character, whether there were crimes committed or not. That's been what I've been saying, this entire time regarding a lot of people, because there are a lot of people in these files, some of whom are accused of extremely dark and violent shit, some of whom are not. Chomsky has not. But that still speaks to your character. And if you're someone in a position of power and influence, and I would argue Chomsky, as one of the premier academics, has a lot of cultural influence, certainly has throughout his life, it is in the public interest to know that you are, a two-faced lying scumbag. Absolutely. Max Blumenthal, go ahead.
Especially given what Noam Chomsky's whole public profile was.
Well, sure.
What his academic and given his analysis of systems of power, not only is Chomsky a hypocrite on the face of it, did he really not understand, at the very least, the networks that Jeffrey Epstein was tied into? Did he really not one of the most brilliant academics of his age, whose body of work is all focused on analyzing systems of power? Did he really not understand what Jeffrey Epstein was, who he was associating with, how he had what he had? Did he have no inkling of that? So yeah, man, the sex aside, I don't think anybody thinks that he was involved in that. Of course, you have to reevaluate his legacy based on that. Does that mean Manufacturing Consent is not a valid book? No, it doesn't, but it means Noam Chomsky was not a valid messenger. And that is something that you have to add to your understanding of who he has been all these years in reality versus his public persona.
Yep, 100%. So Max Blumenthal tweets, and this, by the way, I should add, this is in April 2023. So this is in response to the initial Wall Street Journal report. It's not a current tweet. Right. He says, at approximately the same time Noam Chomsky was wagging his finger at the Palestinian-led BDS movement, he was meeting privately with Ehud Barak, among the worst war criminals in Israeli history. So yeah, if you look at that right up in The Guardian, Israel boycott campaign risks backfiring, says Noam Chomsky. And then if you look at the subtitle, we don't have time to litigate all this in detail, but U.S. philosopher argues that parallels between BDS campaign and action against apartheid-era South Africa are misleading. So, I mean, yeah, again, I mean, what Max says there is spot on. If you're acknowledging that the cultural boycott of South Africa was effective. And then in the next breath saying, well, the BDS campaign is doomed to fail, especially when you are an Ashkenazi Jew yourself. And I say this as a Jew myself. It does seem like when you acknowledge the effectiveness of the South Africa boycott, but caution against the anti-Israel boycott, it does seem like you are applying a double standard to yourself and applying a double standard to yourself. That's what it looks like to most people. Oh, sure. So you admit that worked when it was against the white South Africans, but God forbid we do that to the Jewish state. That's what that looks like to people, because that is essentially what you are doing. That's what you are doing. So here's Max. This was from December of 2025, last year. Here's Noam Chomsky hanging with Ehud Barak in 2015. Chomsky choosing to stain his legacy by befriending an Israeli war criminal via Epstein is sad, but also contemptible in light of his undercutting of the BDS movement. And of course, we hear this.
Look at that.
We have this famous
Best
photo.
of friends.
Yeah. We have this famous photo.
Look, they both advised Jeffrey Epstein of how to get out of his being called out as a PDF file. They both did that.
Yeah, exactly. This obviously was in the December round of Epstein dumps. Him yucking it up with Steve Bannon, and this video went viral at around that time because here he is 2 months after that photo with Bannon in 2019. Chomsky gave this speech on the threat of modern fascism, where he specifically named Bannon as the impresario of the ultra-nationalist reactionary international movement. So here he is.
I didn't even see this.
We are not facing the rise of anything like Nazism, but we are facing the spread of what's sometimes called ultra-nationalist reactionary international, trumpeted openly by its advocates, including Steve Bannon, the impresario of the movement.
Yeah, there it is. So yeah, that looks pretty awful. That looks pretty awful.
I shared a nosh with at my good friend Jeffrey Epstein's house.
He used to always leave a pizza out for me when I would stay at his townhouse. And no, I'm not talking about John's.
It was much appreciated. For Steve, we used to always joke around. For you, we'll just give you a pint of beer and a cabbage, you Mick.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Noam Chomsky not looking too good. In light of these recent Epstein drops. It shows, like I said. I mean, I suppose you can't technically say he lied about his relationship with Epstein, but he definitely downplayed it. In a manipulative way by saying, yeah, no, of course, I'm going to take an opportunity to have dinner with a great artist like Woody Allen. Yeah, we discussed finance and academia, but otherwise none of your business. No, as Allen said in his thread there, they seem to be pretty good friends, pretty close friends. They seem to have a pretty tight relationship, and advising him as to how to handle the fallout from the second case against him. Yeah, I mean, that is really, really sleazy stuff. Of course.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
That's it, man. That's it. These people they're behind the velvet rope in the club, right? Behind the scenes, they're all friends, man. That's wrestling, right?
Yep.
Tells you about Steve Bannon. He's yucking it up with Bannon, hanging out with him at their mutual friend, the convicted sex offender's house. This is who these people are, and I'm sorry, man. That's got to be part of how you evaluate them. We talked about it earlier, man. I'll always watch Annie Hall. I mean, look, let's keep it real, man. Manhattan plays as very, very creepy. In light not only of the course that Woody Allen's life took, but frankly, I think it would play as creepy anyway. Society has just evolved since that movie was made. Like it's right. it's hard to build a movie around a middle-aged man dating a high schooler as like wacky fun.
Right. Yeah.
Even if his life had not kind of turned out that way, I don't think that movie would play now the same way. But yeah, man, I mean, of course you got to evaluate Woody Allen a certain way based on his life. Same thing with Chomsky, man. And Chomsky, in a way, it's a lot worse because Woody Allen kind of told you right there in Manhattan that he's a big old pervert who wants to, get with kids, right? He kind of put that out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Chomsky, this is a complete violation of everything he ever claimed to stand for. He felt no obligation to have that moral consistency for himself. He wasn't actually disgusted by these people. He liked hanging out with these wealthy elites. Clearly, he did quite a lot of it. So at that point, his public persona is largely a show, right? I mean, look right there, man. He's calling out Steve Bannon. He's hanging out with. Did he disclose that? Did he say? And I just want to say, I know Steve Bannon, and I find him morally repugnant, but personally appealing. He didn't say that. And say, I didn't tell you that. Would you ever have suspected that he personally hung out with Steve Bannon based on that? So I'm sorry, man. Like, I know a lot of people are attached to Noam Chomsky. You shouldn't be attached like that to anybody, man. And it doesn't even mean, look, it's the saying, and it's coming up a lot these days, came up with Bruce Springsteen's song. Bruce Springsteen, we did a whole segment tearing him apart. We don't have a lot of good things to say about Bruce Springsteen, but there are no permanent allies, only permanent interests, right? Hey, if Noam Chomsky's book is helpful to your cause, take his book. But that doesn't mean in another place you can't say this guy was a hypocrite. Yeah, he wrote a seminal book about the media, but clearly in his personal life, he didn't feel any need to practice what he preached.
Right. Exactly. And, somebody made the point in talking about Chomsky, because he's seen as this giant of the left, but somebody made a very good point. Well, what is this? What is the state of the left that he leaves behind now as he is, not to be too morbid, but he's close to the end. He's almost 100 for Christ's sake. Like, what has that academic left? How has that academic left really served the left? Right. A lot of people have argued, I think, pretty convincingly that it has, really not served the left well to be so associated with sort of elite academia, and the whole approach they've taken has been largely a failure.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move right on along, shall we? You want to take some YouTube super chats, and I'll take some Rumble rants.
Okie doke. Media Le Grand Soir. Russell, I went to Cambodia recently and realized the paper media had disappeared. No newspapers, magazines, nada. Only online media. Same in Laos. It's not something I've really paid attention to because that kind of, that kind of media has kind of disappeared everywhere. Not magazines. Like, you still have magazine stands. Did I notice any in even Thailand? No, but I haven't been everywhere, so I don't know. But the newspaper stand has kind of died throughout the world, hasn't it? Like the daily paper newspaper, like you don't see that a lot in New York City anymore. So I don't know if that's really about this region, but that's kind of a worldwide thing. In terms of print magazines, I don't know. Like, I'm not really going to the kinds of places that you would see that, so I can't say. All right. So, man, I know this happens on Jimmy's show that people go there to cry like little girls about.
All right, hold on. Before you get into that, I just exchanged some DMs with Roe, who said, sorry, can we do a different day? Was excited, but votes called.
They did have a pretty important.
They had an
vote.
important. No, it's an important vote. It's an important
You
vote.
kind of had to vote.
You can't really not vote. So yeah, no. So I said, okay, so no problem. Let's just pick a day where we can pre-record if your schedule is that subject to change, and that seems to be the plan. So that's where we just left it with him just now.
All right. So yeah. Okay. All right. So we'll talk about it after the show. Okay. So yeah. So Jimmy gets these kind of things, and he reads them and responds to them. So we'll do the same. You paid your money. You plunk down your money. You paid for the ticket.
Buy the ticket, take the ride, as they
take
say.
the ride, as the late great doctor used to say. That kid Pulley. Jimmy Dore shits on Ryan Grimm and loves Steve Bannon. He has lost it, guys. He also thinks Joe Rogan isn't a sellout either. Jimmy is being played. All right. So first of all, in terms of like the overall thesis, Jimmy's a friend of ours, man. And, that's what he says when he gets these things about us. And that's what I'll say, too. I mean, you don't have to agree with your friends about everything. Right?
Well, he's also a friend of Joe's. Like, I don't like, what's all right? They're friends,
Yeah.
This reminds me of the American Buffalo.
What is it? High school? Like,
this reminds me.
Oh, you're friends with him. Yeah, you can't be friends with me. I mean, come on, man.
This reminds me of the American Buffalo scene where Teach says, it's one of my favorite monologues. I have it pretty much memorized. He says, only from the mouth of a vicious southern ingrate of a vicious nowhere runt can this trash come, putting down the woman in the diner. And then he looks at Bobby and he says, and I know you're close with him,
Yeah.
like they're friends. And he says, yeah, this person's a fucking asshole. I know you're friends with him, but it's all right. We're still friends too. Like, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, and me and Jimmy, different circumstances, but we both kind of came up rough. And when you come up rough, you evaluate people based on whether you could trust them,
right?
Not based on whether you agree with them on everything.
Yeah.
As a friend, Jimmy's a guy I trust, and that's really what's important. In terms of the rest of it, we shit on Ryan Grimm too. Like, Ryan Grimm does some good reporting. I've said this many times, during the height of the woke madness, he did a couple of great articles about how that was destroying left campaigns. It was destroying left nonprofits. He did some of the best writing about how that was destroying these organizations from within that I saw from anybody. He also serves as a sheepdog for the Democrats, taking figures like the Squad and whitewashing them as if they're far more sincere, morally consistent, and radical than they actually are. It can be, it doesn't have to be either or. Like, you can embrace the person here and criticize them there. Like, it doesn't, all this shit, it started with cable news where everything is black or it's white, and that carried over into social media. And now people expect you to feel this way or that way. It's not all, or I don't know that he loves Steve Bannon. I haven't talked to him about that in a while. And as far as Rogan, I mean, asked and answered, we have our opinion, and he's entitled to his opinion. Kurt is close with him too, man. He was just on a show. We're friends with Kurt. We text with Kurt.
Yeah, of course.
You don't have to agree on everything. It's all right. Race car, man, guys, the live stream last Sunday was so dark. I still get goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah, it kind of it is very bleak, like it really is. Like, you are reminded of how bleak it is when you read shit like that. Today we focused more on the absurdist comedy angle of the Epstein files, but there's a lot of dark.
That was pretty ugly, man. That's why, I mean, we gave one of our rare trigger warnings on that one, man, because some of that stuff was very rough. Christian Fortin, we in Senegal observed that neither Musk nor Thiel, let alone Epstein and Barak, would be the fastest of bunnies in our forest. I like that. Declaring independence.
This is Jose
Vega, congressional candidate Jose Vega. Rokana is not representative of my great Democratic Party. I mean, look, he had a valid excuse, man. Like, literally, you can read the headline.
Yeah, he has a good alibi. You know,
he has a very good alibi.
he has a good
Nah,
he
I
has a
mean,
good alibi.
I'm sure we will get it in the can. I know you all wanted to see it live, but that's just not. We're not going to risk that happening again.
I mean, we might do it as a surprise on Thursday. We just won't bill it in advance, you know. But who knows? Maybe he'll join live
mean,
on
if we can get him on Thursday, that would be an ideal. Because again, once I get into the weekend, I can't really do it.
Yeah, no, we won't plug it in advance so that we don't look like idiots again.
Like schmucks,
but
yeah.
we might just have him jump on as a surprise guest on Thursday. That's theoretically possible.
We will see. Zamet, 1969. Joan of Arc. Candace. Joan of Arc and Candace. Candace.
See what you did there.
Interrobang 5000. This Epstein story is so bleak. I haven't even come close to laughing about anything other than you guys since Friday. Well, thank you. That is a very high compliment. Kenneth, please have Whitney Webb on again. Haven't heard from her in a while. She hasn't been doing a lot of interviews lately.
No.
Yeah, didn't you? You had an exchange with her recently, right?
I have, yeah. I had an exchange with her a few months ago. And by the way, just in case people are searching the Do Dissidents archives, we did interview her, but not here. We interviewed her on Jimmy's channel.
Yeah.
By the way, it shows what a good friend Jimmy is that he hires us to do his show despite the that.
Despite the disagreements.
And I'm sure Joe doesn't care. I mean, what does Joe give a shit what a couple of fucking Jew bastards like us think? You know, like what does he give a shit?
I mean, well, he cares enough that we've been singled out to not use his clips. He cares enough.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess we owned him in that way.
I guess it got in his head enough that
triggered
we
him in that way. I guess we live rent free in his head in that way.
A little bit, a little bit. We're living rent free in that bald head of his, man. Yeah, man. And it's something that really makes a big difference to me in terms of like being able to have an honest disagreement. Is it an honest disagreement? Is it an honest disagreement, or are you being paid, or your, audience captured? I've said this many times, man. You hang out with Jimmy, the opinions Jimmy has on his show are the opinions he has at dinner.
Oh yeah, for sure. 100%.
It's an honest disagreement.
Oh, 100%.
If you're the kind of guy who and look, the easy path for Jimmy to take, he didn't take it. He didn't take
of course.
Being in this business, I can tell you, man, the best thing for Jimmy to do for his bottom line would have been to just bend the knee. Don't do those ICE segments or do them as pro ICE. Like the easiest thing for him to do would have been to go like Eric Doherty, and he would have gotten in on a lot of money, man, and a lot of opportunities that he passed up. And he's not a dumb guy. He knows that.
Of course.
So at that point, you're talking about honest disagreements.
Right.
You're not talking about friendship with somebody that you can't respect because they're lying to their audience.
Right.
And that's what I accuse Joe of, frankly.
Right. Well, look at just look at the Charlie Kirk case, right? Like the line from 99% of that media ecosystem is, how dare you, question the shooting of Charlie Kirk. It's basically Candace Owens and nobody else in right-wing media that's doing that.
Right.
So if you wanted access to that space, which is very lucrative, you would just toe the line. But he's done the opposite. He's been really as vocal as Candace about that. He doesn't have the insight. He doesn't have the sources that she has, but he's been covering it just as much, I think. So, yeah, of course.
Well, and in this way, we're very similar. Like, we've left a lot of opportunities on the table to maintain our integrity.
Yeah.
Right? Like we could have gone that way. Two Jews, MAGA.
Oh, people used to tell us all the time, you guys are going to go MAGA. You guys are going to go MAGA.
You guys are going to go
MAGA. Yeah. People used to say that to us all the time.
Yeah, that's what you think.
Yeah.
Zamet, 1969. Truth will never serve you breakfast in bed. On the other hand, Do Dissidents will, won't we? That's news to us. Wasim Garani. Norm Finkelstein was invited to Epstein, but he declined and called them disgusting PDFers and told his colleagues that invited him shameful. In theory, Chomsky is a fantastic moron.
I get my pizza from
was he
Defara
invited?
at Coney Island. Thank you very much.
Was he
That's all
invited,
the
or is that,
pizza I need. There was some email
is
where
that a
he
joke?
was offered to be put in touch with somebody. I forget the exact details, and he basically said, no.
Okay, that's what I would expect from Norm. Zamet, 1969, Gonzalo Lira. Yes, the deceased Gonzalo Lira. Laz Jergazdi Chamonik. Russ, say hi to Khan Sufindosiphone for me. LOL. I have no idea what the fuck.
Just thought of that as a news series. That would be a good news series. The Finkelstein files instead of the Epstein files. If all his emails leak and we get to just read all the fucking nasty emails he sent to people he hates, that would be an entertaining story. That'd be a funny story. So we have new Finkelstein file leaks today. He told Barry Weiss, "I'll spit in your face. You better look the other way when you see me."
I would much rather, after strolling my Coney Island neighborhood, take off my shoe and have a conversation with the shit on my heel than speak to you for another moment, sir. Adon ALW. Chomsky even said Herman wrote manufacturing consent and he just slapped his name on it to boost it. Did he say that? Is there evidence for that?
Oh.
Star Fury 1000. How do we move forward now that our eyes are open? Also, my high school brothers and I are horrified that all this was happening since high school on St. Croix Virgin Islands since 1991. I don't know, man. Some of our friends say it's socialism or barbarism.
Yeah.
And I am increasingly inclined to agree with them. Yes.
Yep.
Come back. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna have a black beret.
Exactly.
Vive la revolution.
New damning Finkelstein files leaks today. He gets a parking ticket outside of CBS News and tells them to eat shit. Tells him he'll never pay a dime. $1 million trooper. Manufacturing consent explains our affection for Chomsky. Probably remains our best chance to demonstrate to the blue-pilled how the propaganda works. Perhaps Ed or Herman. Thank you, $1 million trooper. Mark Pugliese, Russ, Abby Hoffman, steal this book. The only dope worth shooting is Richard Nixon. Ha, good one. Bonzo Beans, where do you Jews learn to schmooze like that? I know. I don't know. I can't explain it. Yeah, can't explain it. It's very embarrassing to have all this just laid out in the open. So I guess the moral of the story is that the tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist that for years said the West is dominated by satanic cannibalistic PDF files seeking to annihilate humanity. I don't. You ran out of characters there, but yeah, I catch your drift. Absolutely. Well, I was watching our friend Nick Cruz. The last night, was it last night or 2 nights ago? He made a good point. Must have been last night because we were on 2 nights ago. But he made a good point. He's like, they put suggesting that because pizza really was a code word among these people for something that's clearly not pizza, he suggests that the fake Pizzagate story was put out there in order to discredit the whole thing, right? Like this fake thing about this one location in DC, that was very convenient for them. It's almost like they pushed that out there in order to discredit the whole idea that you may think pizza is code for something, because clearly based on these files, it is code for something.
Right. For something.
This is a good one. I like this one. Gina and Heidi, Walter Kern is what you get when you bury Andy Rooney in Pet Cemetery. It's good. That's good. That's clever. That's good. I like that.
That's really good.
That's good. That's like a Dennis Miller level.
We have the smartest audience, man.
Yeah, that's like a Dennis Miller level reference. He was the old reference comic,
Before he went crazy.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Vienticus Prime, miss how the Jersey Shore pizza used to be. Nocturnal Human, that's America's Asterisk. Yes, thank you. America's Asterisk. That would be a good name for America this week. All right. Let's do our final segment of the day.
All right. So, as you might have heard, the Kennedy Center is having a lot of problems. Not good. Believe me, not good. So, here's how it started. This is back in February. At my direction, we are going to make the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. great again. I have decided to immediately terminate multiple individuals from the Board of Trustees, including the chairman, who do not share our vision for a golden age in arts and culture. We will soon announce a new board with an amazing chairman, Donald J. Trump. Just last year, the Kennedy Center featured drag shows specifically targeting our youth. This must stop. The Kennedy Center is an American jewel and must reflect the brightest stars on its stage from all across our nation. For the Kennedy Center, the best is yet to come. All right. So how'd that go? The new reimagined Kennedy Center. From Hamilton to Issa Rae to Philip Glass, here's a list of Kennedy Center cancellations. More than 24 musicians, dancers, theater companies, and other creative groups have pulled out of performing at the Kennedy Center since President Trump returned to the White House. And is showing on the calendar all the dates that were canceled: January, February. Hamilton canceled. The Washington National Opera canceled. Philip Glass canceled for his June dates. So here's just a few of them in a little more detail. The Washington National Opera relocated its spring season to George Washington University after 70 years at the Kennedy Center. Like the Kennedy Center, the opera faced a tumultuous year of cancellations, empty seats, and the retrenchment of donors protesting Mr. Trump. Now, that's an important element of this. You have a lot of these cancellations and these companies that are moving, not only because of moral objection, but because their own donors are pulling out of funding them as long as they're at the Kennedy Center, and their audiences won't go see their shows as long as they're at the Kennedy Center. Martha Graham Dance Company, the nation's oldest dance troupe, was set to celebrate its centennial with performances at the Kennedy Center before it canceled the 4 shows it had planned for this spring. The company did not give a reason, saying in a statement only that we hope to perform at the center in the future. Hamilton, the hugely popular musical about the nation's founding, was set to be staged at the Kennedy Center to honor the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence.
That would have gone great. Yeah, that could have been.
Yeah, that would have been. The ICE probably would have arrested half the cast.
ICE would have just been hanging out at the stage door.
But after Mr. Trump was appointed chairman of the board last year, Lin-Manuel Miranda, the show's creator, said the show would not engage with the institution while it is the Trump Kennedy Center. Quote, "It became untenable for us to participate in an organization that had become so deeply politicized," Jeffrey Seller, the lead producer, said in an interview with the Times. "The Kennedy Center is for all of us, and it pains me deeply that they took it over and changed that." I got to say, just on a side note, some of my earliest and most vivid memories are of the bicentennial. I was 6 during the bicentennial.
That's right.
And the bicentennial was a very big deal, like wall-to-wall cultural saturation with memorabilia and TV specials and magazine articles. This is really quiet. Like, it's not even being discussed.
Well, there's going to be the big festival on the White House. I mean, there's going to be a big thing.
Sure, but no, it was months. The whole year was like, just, I remember it vividly how just pervasive the coverage of the bicentennial was.
Yeah, no, we're
and
gonna have
this,
a UFC
This is
fight.
much quieter by. Yeah, exactly.
Gonna have a
they're gonna
couple-
get Conor McGregor to fight Steve Bannon.
Yeah, no, they're gonna get a couple like yeah, that's what our bicentennial is. A couple deformed retards biting each other's ears off in a cage. That's our bicentennial.
They're gonna get Mel Gibson to dress up as Mad Max. Yeah, so Hamilton's out. Let Freedom Ring. For the first time in over 20 years, Let Freedom Ring, an annual concert that celebrates the life of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and has featured artists like Aretha Franklin and Leslie Odom Jr., was held not at the Kennedy Center, but at the Howard Theater a few miles away. Quote, "You celebrate the time that was and the impact that has been and can never be erased," Nolan Williams Jr., the music producer of the show since 2003, told NPR, and then you move forward to the next thing. Now, I don't think it's a coincidence that the board stacked with Trump loyalists does not have a single black person on it. Now, if you're anti-DEI, you should be and I am, you should be anti-DEI for everybody, including white people. What is that board other than DEI for white people? You got a bunch of unqualified people who don't know the first thing about arts management being stacked in that board. And I am sure it is not a coincidence that this is not there at this point. Okay, and this, what's his name again?
This is Bella Fleck.
Bella Fleck,
one of the best musicians in the world, Bella Fleck. I know that the chuds were ragging on him because he plays a banjo. Does he pee sitting down? Gotta break that fucking banjo off and shove it up your ass.
What a banjo is effeminate since when?
Banjo. That's fucking. You know what?
That's like the most American of instruments.
Right, exactly. That's called American. That's what a banjo is.
Right.
Yeah.
19-time Grammy winner. So here's what he said. "I have withdrawn from my upcoming performance with the NSO at the Kennedy Center, National Symphony Orchestra. Performing there has become charged and political at an institution where the focus should be on the music. I look forward to playing with the NSO another time in the future when we can together share and celebrate art." And of course, Philip Glass. "After thoughtful consideration, I have decided to withdraw my Symphony No. 15 Lincoln from the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. Symphony No. 15 is a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, and the values of the Kennedy Center today are in direct conflict with the message of the symphony. Therefore, I feel an obligation to withdraw this symphony premiere from the Kennedy Center under its current leadership." Now, a lot of people think this might actually be the reason that Trump is closing the Kennedy Center. A lot of people think he took this very personally because he has been a longtime supporter of Philip Glass. He's an enormous fan. We actually have footage of him attending a performance of probably Glass's most famous work, Einstein on the Beach, right here. Big fan, big Philip Glass guy. So that wound really cut deep. That might be a big part of why he's closing.
It's very conceptual, you know, makes you put a lot of things in perspective.
It makes you think.
Makes you think,
think.
you know.
Occupy
I like to think. I'm very good at thinking. Nobody thinks like Trump.
I like to think of my administration as an abstract Philip Glass piece. Occupy Democrat. Like Philip Glass, you can't really make any sense of it until you pull back a little bit.
There's a new avant-garde album coming out called Measles. Reminds me a lot of of our administration.
Breaking OMG. Trump's team sues musician who canceled his Kennedy Center concert for $1 million over his political stunt. Trump is apparently so butthurt that legendary jazz musician Chuck Red canceled his traditional Christmas jazz concert at the Kennedy Center over Trump illegally adding his name to the wall that he's trying to seek $1 million in damages. And this is his crafty minion here on the board, Grinnell. Your decision to withdraw at the last moment, explicitly in response to the center's recent renaming, which honors President Trump's extraordinary efforts to save this national treasure, is classic intolerance and very costly to a nonprofit arts institution. Regrettably, your action surrenders to the sad bullying tactics employed by certain elements on the left who have sought to intimidate artists into boycotting performances at our National Cultural Center, Grinnell wrote to Red. Your dismal ticket sales, see, he's talking like the boss. Your dismal ticket sales and lack of donor support, combined with your last-minute cancellation, has cost us considerably. This is your official notice that we will seek $1 million in damages from you for this political stunt, Grinnell continued.
We're going to copy and paste that and send that to Ro Khanna. Your last minute cancellation has cost us
a small podcast like ours cannot afford last minute.
We will be seeking damages in the amount of $1 million.
$1 million. Please forward it to our Venmo. So there's Richard Grinnell. Okay, so Trump put this guy in charge. No experience in the arts. If that's not DEI, what is it? That's DEI, man. It's DEI for white guys. This administration. And vapid blondes with a lot of plastic surgery. The left is boycotting the arts because Trump is supporting the arts, but we will not let them cancel shows without consequences. The arts are for everyone, and the left is mad about it. Okay. So look, a quick word on this, because I was a little curious when I was in DC last year. About the Kennedy Center and its programming, and this is pre-Trump's election. Did they have more drag shows than you could reasonably say, is serving the public? And to make it clear, I don't think you should have none. I mean, some people want to see that. Was there a very Libby kind of programming there? Up to a point, not as much as you might think. Certainly not as much as they're making it out. Like, most of it was like the community dance troupe is doing a free afternoon show. It was mostly what you'd expect a national theater serving the community to do. For the most part, it was not like this big woke program. For the most part, it was pretty Melba Toast kind of stuff. It really wasn't like over the top like that. Just like when I went to the museums, I didn't find that they were like crazy woke stuff like they're making out. And I was looking for it and I didn't really see it. So they're greatly exaggerating. What they're doing is actually that. They're pushing something that, they're pushing a version of the Kennedy Center that only Kid Rock could love, right? Like this does not serve the public. What I saw of their previous programming much better served the general normal population than whatever freak show they're trying to put together here does.
Ted Nugent begins his bi-weekly residency at the Kennedy Center starting in May. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Bridget Fatassi, a woman, and her bad takes this Friday.
This ain't Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies, Washington.
Unusual Whales. I just went into the Ro Khanna thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's a little preview.
Yeah. Well, now forget it. Now he's canceling.
Now he's definitely canceling.
He blew the shot.
That's it. Okay, so about those ticket sales that Richard Grinnell is so concerned about. Based on late 2025 reports, the Kennedy Center experienced a severe decline in attendance and ticket sales following leadership changes in February 2025. Yeah, I don't think it's him that was causing a drop in ticket sales. I don't think so. Single ticket sales fell by approximately 50%, while subscription sales dropped by roughly 36%. By October 2025, and about 43% of tickets remained unsold for performances, a sharp increase from 7% unsold in 2024. I didn't know the Kennedy Center did that well. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Only 7% unsold. Key details regarding the decline in attendance include ticket sales plunge. Reports indicate ticket sales fell to their lowest levels in years, with some performances seeing between 4% and 19% capacity. That's rough, man. Subscription drop. By June 2025, revenue from subscriptions had dropped significantly, with reports indicating a 36% decline. Unsold seats. An analysis in late 2025 found that 43% of seats were unsold on the day of performances, compared to just 7% during the same period in 2024. Factors. The decrease is linked to artist cancellations, a polarizing brand, and a shift in leadership. The Kennedy Center initially denied the 36% decline in subscriptions in June 2025, but subsequent reports confirmed a substantial drop in overall revenue and attendance throughout the year. Look, I mean, a big part of the problem that they're going to run into here is this is reality. Libs are more of your audience for the arts. And if you did reshape the Kennedy Center into, I don't know, a rotating program of Ted Nugent, Kid Rock, and Kiss, and the Tel Aviv Boys Choir. This is in DC. Who's gonna go see that?
Right.
Like, maybe if you put that somewhere in a red state, if you put that in Tennessee, maybe you could get an audience for that. You're not going to get an audience for that in DC. So naturally, you had a complete collapse in attendance when you tried to rebrand it in that way. Who's your audience that is going to have access to the Kennedy Center for that kind of a Kennedy Center?
Yeah, no, DC is like, I believe Washington DC is the most democratic major city in the entire country. It's like 90-something percent Democrat.
Was going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think the tourists were going to come to this? Like, who did you think your audience was? So now the latest.
After a one-year review of the Trump Kennedy Center that has taken place with contractors, musical experts, art institutions, and other advisors and consultants that I will choose to remain nameless, deciding between either construction with closure and reopening, or partial construction while continuing entertainment operations through a much longer period of time, working in and around the performances, I have determined that the Trump Kennedy Center, and don't let anyone tell you it's named otherwise, if temporarily closed for construction, revitalization, and complete rebuilding, can be, without question, the finest performing arts facility of its kind anywhere in the world. That includes La Scala. In other words, if we don't close, the quality of construction will not be nearly as good, and the time to completion, because of interruptions with audiences from the many events using the facility, will be much longer. The temporary closure will produce a much faster and higher quality result.
So he goes on for like another 2 paragraphs, but that's the thrust of it.
Cool.
Maria Shriver, a lot of cope. Maria Shriver responds, translation. It has been brought to my attention that due to the name change, but nobody's telling me it's due to the name change, but it's been brought to my attention that entertainers are canceling left and right, and I have determined that since the name change, nobody wants to perform there any longer. I've determined that due to this change in schedule, it's best for me to close this center down and rebuild a new center that will bear my name, which will surely get everybody to stop talking about the fact that everybody's canceling, right? Yeah, that's a pretty good summation there. Here's a little more about this from the AP.
President Trump says he will move to close Washington's Kennedy Center for 2 years, starting in July for construction. Trump's announcement follows a wave of cancellations by artists since he ousted the previous leadership and added his name to the building. The president announced his plan days after the premiere of Melania, a documentary of the First Lady, was shown at the storied venue. Trump says the proposal is subject to approval by the board of the Kennedy Center, which has been stocked with his hand-picked allies. Composer Philip Glass recently announced his decision to withdraw his Symphony No. 15 Lincoln because he said the values of the center today are in direct conflict with the message of the piece. Last month, the Washington National Opera announced that it will move performances away from the Kennedy Center in another high-profile departure. The Kennedy Center began as a national cultural center, but Congress renamed it as a living memorial to President John F. Kennedy in 1964, in the aftermath of the slain president's death. It is open year-round as a public showcase for the arts, including the National Symphony Orchestra.
All right, so some reactions. Ron Filipkowski. The Kennedy Center has been in continuous operation for 55 years. Trump and Rick Grinnell destroyed it in 1 year by making it so toxic that nobody will perform there. Now they have to shut it down like a Trump casino.
Yep.
And he also shared out a list of Trump's failed businesses, not even a complete list. Trump Steaks, Trump Vodka, Trump Board Game, Trump University, Trump Mattresses, Trump Ice, Trump Shuttle, Trump Vitamins, and urine test kits. Toward to Trump, New Jersey Generals, Trump Modeling, Trump Princess, Trump Mortgages, Trump Success Cologne, Trump Magazine, Trump Style, Trump Taj Mahal, Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino, Trump Castle, Trump Hotels and Casino Resorts, Trump Entertainment, Trump Marina, Trump Casino Indiana, Trump Travel Agency, Trump Net Telecom, Trump Tower Tempa, Trump Empire Cologne, Paris is Out Musical. I thought he was this great businessman. I thought that's why he should be president. He's this great businessman. This is why we always say these people are not any smarter than you are. They're luckier than you are. They're born rich very often, like Donald Trump, and they have no limits. They have no scruples. They have no ethics. It's that combination that puts these people where they are. Zay Jelani. Some of the coolest events the Kennedy Center had is when they'd feature local music, often kids, most days of the week for a free concert. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I saw in their program, mostly. Narcissistic idiot Donald Trump could have expanded that programming, but he's obsessed with rich people and celebrities. Yes. Scary Larry. So Trump slapped his name on the Kennedy Center, then got so butthurt that nobody wanted to perform there anymore, he fucking closed it. He is the most pathetic, whiny-ass, thin-skinned little bitch who ever lived. Yeah, yes, no lies detected. But hey, man, here's an important angle I want to cover because I'm still getting shit over the Jew tunnel segment on Jimmy's show from like 2 years ago. Hey, man, it's not just Jews who build tunnels to abduct people. According to Red Pill Drifter, there's a hidden reason why Trump is demolishing the Kennedy Center. Kennedy Center and National Forest Service tunnels. Just my opinions on the closure. A much needed preservation of evidence and allowance for due diligence. How many go missing in the national forests? We know tunnels are under the Kennedy Center, and they clearly work with the National Forest Service. Research the missing 411. DC has a network of tunnels. Can anyone find maps, tunnels? And he has a link there that if you click it, you immediately get on a watch list. So
that's where RFK's wife is buried under one of the tunnels.
Yeah, that's where he moved her to.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna call these the Goyim tunnels.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Yeah.
So these are the Goyim tunnels. So maybe we need to get on that and find out the real reason that Trump is demolishing the Kennedy Center is to get to the hidden evidence in the secret Goyim tunnels that run from the Kennedy Center to the national forests where people disappear.
Yeah. The WASP tunnels.
The WASP tunnels. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, look, it's as simple as this. No one likes him. Like no one likes this. Like this speaks to, remember how
It's
when he
very
took
Cartman.
office. Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know what? It appears we're going to have to close for 2 years.
For 2 years. No one likes him. No one likes this. It's amazing because at the beginning of his term, we were talking about how, coming out of the peak woke and the culture war backlash that, along with other things, kind of built the coalition that put him back in office, how this was going to be a real cultural change. And we saw that for 60 days. Right. But I don't feel like that ever really arrived. Like even the Sydney Sweeney ad, they tried trolling the public about Nazi jokes. And to be clear, I don't think that was like a Nazi ad, but they really reveled in trolling people over good genes and white blonde
Right.
women.
Yeah.
They really
Right.
reveled in trolling people with that pun. And she tried to keep it going for a few months, and then she basically caved and said, "All right, yeah, no, I'm actually not a racist, and I'd rather people perceive me that way." So, the whole cultural moment, the whole cultural shift, kind of started, but never really came around all the way through because, these people have just made complete ghouls of themselves in such short order that, who wants to associate with it? Who wants to go see a show at the Trump Kennedy?
Right.
No one wants that. No one wants that. Certainly not in Washington, D.C. It's a very liberal town. Of course they're not going to go. What did you think? Well, what? Everybody loves you? It's as simple as that. That's why these artists are canceling, because it's toxic from a branding point of view too.
And look, as a rule, and I say this from years and years of experience, man, even back when I was really, effectively an MSNBC Democrat lib, when I was producing theater, I found it boring that every script had the same point of view.
Right.
And I would love to have produced something good that had a conservative perspective. I used to actively look for that. They just sucked. Conservatives, as a rule, do not produce good artists. They just don't. They just don't. I'm sorry. That is the reality. So if you're going to try to do an arts institution with a right-wing perspective, it's just not going to work. You just don't even have enough of that's any good to do that with.
Right. Exactly. It takes it takes empathy to create good art. So the kind of person who, when they hear that a 5-year-old was dragged off to jail, if their reaction is, "Were they here illegally?" Well, then, you're probably not going to write the next Hamlet. I got news for you. That's not where that comes from.
Yes.
All right. And I got to say, before we end the segment, I'm very encouraged to see all the love for Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. Bella Fleck's music is uncategorizable. It's jazz times a million. Bella Fleck's Flecktones is incredible. Yes, it is. And Bella Fleck's, he's been around for a lot longer, but the Flecktones debut album came out in 1990, which is the next year on my countdown list on my music podcast. So youtube.com/@shufflepod. That's my music podcast.
Yeah.
That's my music podcast. I'm doing my 1990 list there, and Bella Fleck and the Flecktones will get a mention on that episode. So if you like the Flecktones, go over, check it out. That'll be coming out probably by the end of the week. I should have that done. All right. There we go. All right. That's our show. We're going to take some Rumble Rants and Super Chats before we close the lights over here. So you want to do the Super Chats first?
Okie doke. Cheap shot artist. Didn't you just criticize Chomsky for his friends? Why the double standard for Jimmy? How big of a POS do your friends have to be before criticism is okay? I will tell you what, man. When Jimmy is hanging out on a plane with PDF files and Mossad agents, we might have to part ways.
The thing you're missing there is that Joe Rogan doesn't rape kids. That's the part of that analogy that doesn't quite work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. That's the thing. Yes, you can be friends with people that I don't like. You can't be friends with PDF files. So look,
Right.
I promise you, if Jimmy is taking plane rides with an infamous sexual predator, we will have to part ways. Okay. All right. So yeah. I don't see that happening, but if it does, yeah, I'll be right there. Cheap shot artist.
That's the
Didn't
same
you? Oh, whoops.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops. It's late for me. Nong nong nong. Nobody shares my take on Rittenhouse. The cops are the villains for low-key deputizing and enabling an armed minor provocateur.
You're talking about Rittenhouse as the provocateur? No, I mean, we don't have time to get into it, but yeah, no, I think, first of all, he was obviously not guilty in the sense that there was not evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to convict him. There was some evidence that showed he had not such great motives to be there. I think there's some evidence for that he was kind of, like there was some evidence against him. I'll say that broadly speaking, without being here all night. But there was not nearly enough evidence against him. Not anywhere near enough. And I heard this before. Max talked about how there were protesters who were dropped off and steered in his direction, knowing he was armed, insinuating, I think, pretty reasonably that was orchestrated to a certain extent as part of a strategy of tension.
All right. Zamet, should Erica Kirk ask for a refund from her acting coach? Listen, man, we never got into it. There were other things to cover, but yeah, man, a lot has come out about her.
Yeah, there was a lot.
With the Romania connection is starting to look more solid, and obviously her dating history is nothing like what she presented. So yeah, man, that creepy psychopathic person putting on an act vibe, that's not grief based on the evidence. That's because she's a creepy psychopath who was putting on an act. And the evidence increasingly supports that take. Kate, what's the JD drama? Man, people have a hard time with the concept that people can be friends and have different opinions. Andy Gardner, on JD, I was a lib and he changed my mind. Did the same when I was a Bernie bro. I owe him my skeptical eye. People change. Jimmy learns his lessons. Yeah, man.
Why is all this chatter? What did he come on and defend Jeffrey Epstein last night? Like, why is it a big thing today?
Well, because somebody brought it up.
I missed the show last night. I don't know.
Now everybody's responding. Yeah, man. I mean, Jimmy was the first person that I saw call out Sanders as a sheepdog. Actually, like he put that out there right when he endorsed Hillary, and everybody else just kind of wanted to bend the knee because it was Bernie. And he really didn't. Zamet, do dissidents goes Max.
Dissidents goes Max. That's right.
Mad Max. Louise Brooks, springtime for Hitler coming soon to the Kennedy Center. Yeah. YouTube made me edit. Yeah, Jolly Man Big Boy. Anyone else get this sinking feeling that the e-files will be brushed aside? The Chud media will gaslight themselves to move past it and cheer on war. Well, as part of my segment the other day, I showed how Ezra Klein is already trying to do that, right? Yeah, he knew powerful people and he was a PDF file, but mostly that was separate. And also that whole clubby world that doesn't exist anymore. Nothing to see.
No, that was like the Copacabana days,
Yeah, that was the old days. Aiden ALW, quote, most of the work on the propaganda model itself was due to my colleague Edward Herman. And I mean, I agreed with it, but I can't take the credit for it. I mean, it makes sense now. Richard Pemberton, in my hometown, the bicentennial was huge. All the men grew beards. We wore customs on and off all year. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, like, this is nothing like what I remember from when I was a child of the bicentennial. Brad Gilbert, prepare to plus Trump Erica to that to add Trump Erica to that very impressive list. Benjamin Steber, U.S. forces have downed an Iranian drone.
Oh, good.
Oh, boy. Virtuoso, I am a proud Israel Gator. Yeah. Okay, that's all.
All
of
right.
them.
I didn't hear that. It must be late breaking that we shot down an Iranian drone.
The roosters are going now.
That was Rokana's Wag the Dog, so he didn't have to come on.
Yeah. Can someone start World War III so I don't have to go on with
Am I living in a different universe? Savannah Guthrie's mother has been kidnapped. Yeah, that's another really weird story that we did not get to today. Amanda actually showed me that story last night.
What is it?
Savannah Guthrie, who now they're saying they're making a big deal out of this because she interviewed Virginia Giuffre a while back. Her mother, who's like an old woman, disappeared, and the police say she was taken out of her house against her will. Now, you don't kidnap 84-year-old women. Like, they don't get just randomly kidnapped. Yeah, that is that has some intent behind it. 3-Tom the Bomb. They won't be able to drone strike millions of us. The day will come when the government will stand no chance against the people. ACP.US. Well, they're definitely drone striking you crazy bastards. You're definitely first. Like, whether they get millions, I don't know, but definitely you fucking guys. Snoop sign. Oi, no. You're such a mensch for not complaining when you bite your schmeckle. You just put a little dead sea salt, and by that I mean meth, on the tip of your schwanz, and went to town. Thank you, Stoopside. Oh boy. Chrysler, I've been listening to you all for a while and still don't know what your actual political philosophy leans. Social anarchism? If so, have you read Murray Bookchin, Peter Kropotkin, Emma Goldman? No, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. What do they call them? A social anarchism? All right, maybe. I guess so. I mean, whatever keeps me off a watch list, that's what I am. I don't know. I'll define myself. I'll define myself however they want. I'm malleable in that way.
Yeah, man. I mean, generally, social democrat on the whole. I do understand the critique of having the resources to support that kind of a society not being extracted at the expense of other countries. But I think overall, my opinion is social democratic is probably the best system based on the numbers for your population being healthy and happy. So that is where I tend. Now, in terms of where the world is going, I know our communist friends will say, no, well, communism. But then you got to admit, I mean, China's not a communist country. There is no communist country, right? Like, the resources to make a communist country don't exist. So until they do, then we can talk about that. But as of now, yeah, social democrat, I would say.
I mean, they seem pretty communist. Go ahead. It seems all organized religions in America are one big psyop, all infiltrated a matrix level of population control. Yeah, for sure.
That's how I see it.
Roe couldn't wade his way into the stream. Thank you. Yeah. The Antichrist Prime opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one and they all stink. So this whole Jimmy Good bad thing is stupid. I mean, it doesn't matter. This is what I said. You know, I said this last time when they were talking about Colbert, and I don't like thinking this because Colbert thinks it. It's all.
No, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Brigitte's penis was nowhere in the Epstein files. That's right. Good point.
Yeah.
Eric Rousseau, people who are invested in the red-blue war hate people like Jimmy Dore. Yeah, man, like I was gonna mention, well, I don't want to tip my hand too much, but I was gonna mention there's a line of force the vote, build back better, Gaza. It's all a pattern of the Progressive Caucus kind of capitulating. And so, I was going to talk about that with Rokana. Not buying it again. Let me guess. On Thursday's show, you got Trump and Obama in an oil wrestling match. Exactly. I'm going to see if he could do Thursday, but it'll be a surprise. I'm not going to bill it because if it's too subject to change, we can't bill it.
We're going to have,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, the Fink would make a killer comedy show, indeed. Eric Rousseau, Trump Kennedy Center 2026, springtime in Germany and ice on ice. Yeah, ice on ice. That would be good. That would be a really fun show. Ice on ice. I like that. The Antichrist Prime. Trump is acting just like the woke, complaining about something cis male dominating movies. Blah, blah. Exactly. The Antichrist Prime. Just realize how stupid the average person is. Then realize the average rich person is stupider than that because they don't have to struggle to make ends meet. exactly. Eric Rousseau, I was inside that Israeli chapati house in Luang Prabang back in 2007.
Oh, were you really?
Oh, wow. Look at that. Small world.
Wow.
Russ, you climbed the stairs to the temple and released a dove?
I didn't know that was the thing.
Furrow Spleen says there's a ransom note for her mother now, too. Oh, wow. All right. The plot thickens.
That's
what does
crazy,
it say? Leave $1,000 between two pieces of matzah.
Hunt the Hoffenkomen.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'll say it again. Political ideologies are windowless vans with candy for adults. You don't need a label.
Yep.
Thank you, Vianticus.
Yep.
Yo, speaking of measles, did you
As
see
soon as
the
you get
story?
into those labels, everyone has an opinion.
Did you see the story about ICE, Russell? I was mentioning measles earlier. Yeah, there's a story. This is a funny story. I mean, it's not a funny story, but it is darkly funny. CBS last night breaking: ICE has halted all movement at a Texas detention facility due to measles infections. DHS confirmed.
Well, you know, we're about to be taken off the list of countries that have eliminated measles.
Yeah. That's like, you know, in Seinfeld where the two storylines come together, you know, in the end. You know?
The
It's
A
like,
and the B story.
Yeah, it's like if Seinfeld it took place in hell, that would be an episode. Yeah. All right. Is that everything? We good?
We got a couple more came in the last minute.
Oh, okay.
Jimmy used to be good. Now his entire show is either chemtrails, Candace drama, or whether or not Malaysian airliner was lost in a black hole. Spoiler alert, it was.
It was. Yeah. I think Don Lemon broke that story, actually.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. Originally, yeah, he did that with Gail King.
Yeah. That's why they're throwing him in jail.
Right. He revealed the truth. They're all on an island with that wind up greatly disappointing people with its final plot resolution.
Yeah.
Zamet, Paul Robeson was the original MLK before MLK. Yeah, damn right. All right. That is it.
That's it. All right. That's our show, everybody. Thanks very much for being here. Oh, wait a minute. Before we go, we never did this today because we were distracted, but well over 2525. And we're at 1,624 likes. All right.
We got one more right under the wire. Aiden ALW. Rush, you should go to Cuba to see a socialist country. Changed my life to see it in practice. Visited in 2001 and 2003. Yeah, I would like to go to Cuba. You know, I knew
it's going to have to wait because he's doing China this year. He can't do the show from Cuba either. So, you know, he'll miss 2 months.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we have someone from China who's telling me you could do the show in China, but yeah, that's a rando. Who knows?
Yeah, it's probably worth it to
I mean, if Haifong doesn't do it,
that's right. Like he doesn't do it. Exactly.
If Haifong does not do it, that's why invite that? You know?
Exactly.
So yeah, Cuba. I knew when Obama loosened the restrictions, I should have gone because I knew that wasn't going to last.
Yeah.
And now, of course, we're back.
That's
All right.
All right, everybody. That's our show. Thanks, everybody, very much for being here. Thanks to the YouTubers. Thanks to the Rumblers. Thanks to the mods for keeping the peace in the chat. We will be back on Thursday at noon Eastern. Until then, thanks very much, everybody, for hanging out with us today. Great to see you as always. See you next time. Till then, be safe and be well.
Courage!
Please clap.